Welcome, everyone. It is 6:09 on April 8th, Thursday, for the Town of Fairfield Board of Assessment Appeals. I am calling to start the meeting. I don't need a motion for that, right? No. What? Anything else I need to include? So, what neighborhoods are we doing today?
Roll.
So you want Kathy to call the roll. This is Kathleen. So just have Kathy call the roll.
Oh, yes. Hey, can you call the roll, Kathy?
Okay, Paulette Kuzo,
Here.
Kathleen Griffin,
Here.
Alexis Harrison, not here. Peter Rupert, not present. Harold Zawatsky, not present. Ronique Patel, John Spoiliar,
Here.
Judy Zablack,
Here.
Catherine Giff,
Here.
and the assessor Ross is here.
Here.
That completes the roll call.
Okay, great. And so I guess we can start with neighborhoods now. So who has some appeals to present, right?
Yeah, so this is Kathleen. We thought we would start with the multifamilies. I think Catherine has 4 left and she can check those off, and I have 1. And since Catherine and Judy are here, they can help me make my 1 multifamily. So Catherine, you want to go first?
That would be great, but I could let you go first because mine aren't technically the traditional families. But we good?
So you want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah, get that because then we'll move off the traditional.
Okay, let me grab mine.
Glad you're here, Ross. I got a question on one. Not that you can answer all the questions that we send you on those BAA things, but
I think I got most of them.
tall. You look very tall tonight.
I'm at home.
I can tell that, but you got.
I haven't
been
been
Right,
home in
I know.
daylight in a long time.
Okay, so this is appeal number 158. The property address is 124 Thorpe Street. The owner of the property is Janice Pomazzi. The town has her property valued at $414,700, and she is requesting a reduction to $320,000. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the requested value to $320,000.
Catherine will
Do we have a
second.
second? Thank you.
Okay, so this is a multifamily home at 124 Thorpe Street. Let me call up the card because I just realized I didn't print it out. Actually, she fell and was in the hospital. So her daughter, I think first her son came, but then Judy was going to see him, but then they didn't have an affidavit. So she came back later towards the end of March. And this time the daughter came, Stephanie Wade, her daughter came on her behalf. So it's a two family property, 748 square feet for each apartment. It is on Thorpe Street. So if you know where Thorpe Street is, if you know where Shoe Restaurant is in downtown Fairfield's on one corner, and then Key Bank on the other. And if you go down Thorpe Street, I believe she's the second to the last. John or someone can confirm on the GIS, but I believe she's the second to last house on the right-hand side. They are doing a lot of work down the end of the street there. The Fairfield lumber yard that had burned down and all that is being converted over to, I don't know if it's going to be condos, or Catherine probably knows what's going in there at the end of the street, but anyway, the old lumber property is there at the end. So basically, she told me that they get rent for the place at $1,100 a month upstairs, $1,000 a month downstairs, for a total monthly income of $2,100. And her case was mostly that, again, all the construction and things that were going on, the 48 units at units at Thorpe Street at the end of the street, and also the condition of the property next to her. So if you look at the backup online, you will see all the pictures of, the parking lots and things and the properties next door, the permits and all the construction that's going on at the end of her street. So those are all the photographs that her daughter brought in when she came in for the appeal. I asked them about comps. So if you go a little bit further down into the backup, you will see the comps. But most of those ones are over on the east side or northeast corner of town. She came up, we've heard this one before, 20 Pierce Street that sold in May of 2020 for $370,000. She said it's bigger. Each one has a jazz and 2816 each apartment. Her number 2 comp was 142 Brentwood Avenue. I guess it just sold in March of 2021. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. It's nicer and bigger. It sold for $385,000. And then her third comp is 49 Longfellow Avenue, sold in May of 2020. 3 bedrooms, 1 bath each, 1,566 square feet. And that sold for $411,000. So between those comps, she pulled them off of Zillow, and also the construction and everything going down on her street. She felt that the value of 414 was too high and wanted to go to 320. I don't know, didn't really say how she got to the 320 versus the others that are all sold, other than I guess they're a bit nicer and bigger. So she figured she would be less than the other 3. Now, how her income compares in terms of that, I don't, perhaps Judy and Catherine can speak to that. I don't know, but there's also, if you look at the field card, you can see, the outside of the house is in decent condition. It is, it is on that street with a lot of construction, but it hasn't had, the curb appeal is okay. There's 2 doors to the entrance there.
But FYI, it's on, did you see the lot size on this? Anybody
See what?
notice?
What?
So, yeah, it's a very
The
tiny
acre.
piece of property. Yeah, 0.08 acres. Again, it's sort of a,
When we
walk
say
that
tiny, here,
Yeah.
I'd like to just elaborate for everybody here. A 50 by 100 lot is 0.11 acres. 0.11, 50 by 100. I think you can all visualize that. Based upon the field card, I see that it's 0.082. So it's not even 50 by 100. It's a very, very small lot.
Yeah, she does have a condition factor for the location of 0.9 that brings her land value down to 304,800.
How close is that to the post road?
I'm sorry.
Look up the GIS. How close is it to the post road?
Yeah, I
don't
think
think
she's one from the construction on the right. So she's, Thorpe Street's a fairly short street because the lumber yard and then the marsh is in the back there. So she's not that, she's on the right-hand side. I think she said she's not next to the lumber yard, but she's one off the lumber yard.
This is Paulette.
The
Not
rough
only
was
that,
showing the
isn't
property.
there a place on that street, almost right across the street from her?
Say that again?
Isn't there a car repair place right across the
I
street?
believe there's an automotive. Yes, I think I've taken my car there before. It's across the street.
So
Yeah,
that's-
there's commercial in there.
Yeah. So sitting across from commercial property, so I'm sure that's not helping her value either.
No, she does say she gets the rent. It is rented for the 1,100 upstairs and the 1,000 downstairs. So she is able to rent it, but I don't know how to look at that. Having not done enough multifamilies, I would need others to tell me about the income portion of it.
And it looks like that she is next to another industrial building on one side.
It's a very mixed, it was a lumber
mixed
yard.
use,
The other
yeah.
side.
Yeah, the post road's to the north in that photo, and the marsh and the building, the construction. And I think the house next door to her is not in good shape. There's one house closer to the Fairfield lumber than she is. Yeah.
And I just want to confirm that because the first page, she has different numbers there. So she's currently assessed at 414 and she wants to go to 320.
She said 320 to me in the
Okay.
hearing. Yes,
Okay.
they weren't sure of a number, so she gave me 320. Is there another number in the paperwork?
Yeah, the first
Yes.
page.
I will agree. And the town's value was 290, so that's probably
was-
the appraised value. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
the,
Here's what I want to make sure of, by the way. So I did those numbers, right? So 290, she's going off the assessment. The 290 equals the town's value of 414.7.
yes.
And so what was the number? Why did I also put 346.7? Because that's I think that's the assess. So what number is it that she wants? Because I'm looking at this and it says, in Cowan's opinion of fair market value, she said, I will agree. 290. What is it? So I'm not quite sure what's going on with this.
Yeah, she asked for three. The daughter came in. The mother was in the hospital because she fell. I believe the mother's, elderly. She said if the mill rate goes up, she's been a widow for 3 years, the taxes will be too high, 77 years old. So her daughter came in. Yes, but she rents out the unions and they, 320 was the number that the daughter gave me.
So she wanted the 320 as
The appraised.
As the appraised.
As the
Yeah,
appraised value.
I'm
Okay.
confident in that only because of the three comps that she listed, the Pierce Street, the Brentwood, and the Longfellow were 370, 385, and 411. So those were the three comparable, two families that that the daughter gave me listings for and discussed with me.
I mean,
And her apartments are 748 each apartment.
you can walk to the train.
Catherine.
I mean, it's,
And walk to the train.
it's definitely a commercial area. I'm not saying, but so's Pierce. Pierce has a nice street, but you really can't walk to, like, this has better walking to it. And Pierce, all the commercials right behind it. So Pierce definitely has, houses next to it. But, you can walk to Dairy Queen from here. You can walk to the rec. You can walk to your gym. You can walk to the train. The neighborhood, I think, is, for walking restaurants, you're almost downtown. You can get Starbucks. So I don't know how she can, be 50,000 less. I mean, and she doesn't seem to have problems renting. She's renting it, I think, too low. And yeah, and I mean, even Pierce, yeah, I don't know. I think she's really low.
Isn't it only 700 and some square feet for each apartment?
Okay, but all the ones in Garden and all that, I mean, it's a 2-bedroom. So it's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I haven't seen any at that rate. I always see like 1,500 for a 2-bedroom. And look, the whole 830G and AMI and all that, she's renting like it's 60% of AMI. I'm always torn on these for not counting as the 830G and allowing the development, but that's just my 2 cents. I don't. It's never been.
Are we ready to?
It's never been a residential area. The lumber yard has been there since probably the house was built.
And they knew that, but they also didn't know when they bought it back in, what was it, 97, that it would get, because it was probably 97 when they took ownership, it was still a working lumber yard back then. Not commercial. And I don't know, do we account for the commercial that's forthcoming, or does that go up, later? Because that's going to bring in a lot of traffic. I'm assuming that that's going to be the only entrance exit to that development there.
Yeah, this is Kathleen, and the daughter is Stephanie Wade. So it's been in the family for a long time, even though maybe Stephanie bought it in 92 from James Trainer for 153. But Stephanie is the zero sale prices.
Okay.
So in 92, maybe the lumberyard was there.
John, you brought up a very good point about the amount of traffic that is going to happen there, for the size of that development. That's a very good point.
But can we account for it now? or do we have to wait until it's actually there and up, you know? I mean, I'm sure we could probably account for some of that traffic because of the construction, you know, going in and out and stuff like that, but I don't know if we can count for the residential at this point.
And the residential is
Ross.
age restricted. So
Oh.
it's going
Yep, this is
to be oldies. It's going to be
Yeah.
oldies, but it's not assisted living. I mean, it's a rental for, they got the density bump for the age restriction. Not for, there will be no children in that,
Well,
Grandchildren,
visiting.
just visiting. And, you know, she's not going to have lumber trucks coming by. She'll have, and it's not an assisted living. So there will not be, you know,
As many
shifts.
ambulances.
oh, but there will be ambulances. And when the ambulance comes, so does the fire truck and so do the police.
And I'm
Okay.
sure they have to work out that for the, but again, it's not assisted living. So the number of ambulances should be, although it's 140 people.
Yeah.
Time check.
Yep, thank you,
Hi,
Kathy.
Jack.
So yeah, is somebody throwing out another number here? Those of you who've done a lot more looking at multifamilies, or everybody's ready to vote? I don't. Monique?
I don't feel comfortable with that figure, but I also don't like making up a number either. Ross, can we account for traffic in this case? I mean,
So I'll ask a question. What traffic are you looking to account for? The construction traffic or the potential increase after it's completed?
It already has the 0.9
Potentially.
addition on it.
oh yeah, so okay. I don't want to put up another number. This is Ronique. I don't want to put a number out there, but I also don't feel comfortable with her amount.
I have no problem with it. Living on a street of commercial property with another development going in, her tenants have to live with all the aggravation of the construction for however long it takes these people. I wouldn't walk home in that neighborhood at night. It's desolate at night. Who would walk from there? I wouldn't. And I wouldn't want my mother to walk home from there either. So I don't see why this is such a spectacular property at 400 and something thousand.
And especially with the lot too.
What?
The lot size, Paulette, is 0.082. It's not
Is
even
that
a 50 by 100.
And that picture that she's got here with all the peeling paint in disrepair, is that her house? Or is that a comp? That's hers, right?
That's her view. That's her view.
No, that's the next door. It's part of the Thorpe Street. It seems
Okay.
to be part of that 185 Thorpe. I don't know if they're going to tear it down. It says United Rentals, but when you click on the GIS, it all comes up as the 185 Thorpe. So that building may come down next door to her. I don't know, Ross. I mean, who's never? She just showed me a picture of it. That's the side of it. She does have the Trainer Auto Body across the street. I don't know next door. He has a commercial building.
The fact that that Trainer Auto Body is already across the street. I don't know that, that alone, if you don't want to talk about the new development, which I think we should, but if the people have an issue with that, let's talk about the commercial property that she lives across the street from. And maybe, yes, she might have known about it when she moved in the 90s, 30 something years ago, but her taxes keep going up. It's not like this is what she was paying. Wasn't the value when she bought it. So it's not like, well, you knew, yeah, but it was a lot cheaper then. So the value keeps going up in a place where I don't see that land going up in value. I don't see that location going up in value, but yet it's being appraised at a much higher value. I don't see it.
I mean, but also we have to look at market value.
Pardon me?
We have to look at market value. Sorry, we just have to look at market value as of 10/1/2020, and so as of right now, I mean, it may go down in value in the future, but looking at market value being consistent, we need to look at market value for 10/1.
Yeah, what's the market value? What are these other comps you gave us?
They are 370, 385, and 411.
Okay, so what's wrong with 370, 385? That's market value, right?
This home is also in a flood zone. We know.
Oh, yeah,
that.
no. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Mr.
Just
Kelly,
mention-
just get an
I already
opportunity
mentioned
to
it.
favor. She is going to have a nice neighbor when this is done. And I know, I'm sure the street's going to be cleaned up. It's going to be safe to walk there at night if there's all those 50 brand new apartments down the end. So it will be very nice when they're finished. I don't know when that's going to be, but I think it will change a lot of things for her. Might not change the automotive across the street, but I do think the rest of it is going to be much nicer than what she's been living with. So you just have to decide, are you looking at now, or are you looking at, the potential for that? So.
Well, I'll look at now. Right now, there's no development, but there's construction traffic. It's a desolate open space where anybody could be hanging out at night. So if I look at right now, I don't think it's such a great place. It may get better. You're right. Maybe they'll clean it up when they put that in, but that's years from now by the time they finish.
Yeah, this is Kathleen, there's a couple other multifamilies on the street as well, 2 stories, appraised around the same in the, one's at 463. There are a couple other, homes on the street. So
yeah, I don't know that those are appraised properly. We just know that they're appraised.
Yeah, I don't. They're built in, early, built a while ago. I don't know.
Those appraisals could be wrong. We don't know. That's not market value. That's the appraisal by the town. That is not the market value.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you. I'm just saying she's not the only house on the street. There are other homes, but she's got commercial. She's got something next to her. She's kind of squished between she's one commercial building next to her and then the apartments going in.
Well, here's something. I'm just looking on the GIS, right? So here's what I see. We're at 124. We have Trainer across the street. We have that United Amusement next door to it, and then we have number 90 Thorpe. Just for the heck of it, I pulled up number 90 Thorpe is not in a flood zone, by the way. Okay, it is closer. It's not bordering and looking at, actually it does have Borneo Village. Yep. Okay, so hold on one second. Let's look at what size that is. I'm just curious. That's appraised at 437 too. I'm just doing a math. By the way, the living area on that is 2122. Right, so those apartments are 1,050, and this is appraised a lot. Really, comparatively speaking, you're looking at 1,000 square feet a unit, no flood zone, and it's appraised $20,000 different. I don't think that's right. And there's not even a flood zone.
Someone's making an amendment. I'm good with that.
So let's make an amendment. Let's do something to help this woman. She's 77. She's lived here for how many years, right?
I think we just need to finish this one up. So let's.
Okay.
We've only got 3 hours. Catherine needs to get 4 done by 7 o'clock.
All right. So if we're at 414.7, she's at 320. Why don't we at least try to help her out or whatever? How would everybody feel at like maybe 375? We'd give her something.
Sure. I'll make a motion to amend the current appeal to grant it in part to a value of $370,000.
All right, and there's an amendment on the table. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Paulette seconded. And all those in favor of the amended motion to lower the appeal number 158 to $370,000, raise your hand. Oh, so we have 6 in favor. The vote passes unanimously, and so we'd like to vote on the amended motion. All those in favor of the amended motion to lower the value of appraisal to $370,000, please raise your hand. We have 6 in favor. The vote passes unanimously. Kathy, can you please call the vote?
Appeal number 158 to reduce the appraised value to $320,000 was granted in part and reduced to a value of $370,000 unanimously.
Great, thank you. Kathy, did you have another one, or do you want to move it to Catherine? Kathleen, would you like to have another one?
That's okay. Catherine has 4 multifamilies, and I think we should give her the ability, she can celebrate if she gets those 4 off the table. So we've all had opportunity to do a little of that this
Perfect.
week.
Okay.
All right, Catherine, you're up.
Well, thank you. All right, let's start with Ross. I'm glad you're here. I got a question for you, but this is for appeal number 152. The address is 210 Jennings Road. Owners Fergus and Nora Coulter came to present their appeal. I'd like to make the motion to reduce the town's value of $404,200 to a requested value of $354,200.
Great.
Do I
Is there
have
a second?
I'll second. This is John.
Thank you,
John.
John.
John Spolier, second. Go ahead.
So it took me a few, because there's a few bigger issues here than at first, it was very difficult. But if you pull up the picture on their field card, it took me about 10 minutes for them to be able to communicate to me. It's a raised ranch. That's really what it is. It's a raised ranch, and it sits sideways. So you're looking at the garage. So it's a raised ranch. Instead of having the garage door in the front, it has it on the side, and that's their driveway. So it took me only 30 seconds to tell you. It took us about 10 minutes to get that common language. It is also like, it's on Jennings, but it's on Jennings right near Kings Highway. So right by the Board of Ed. So definitely a very busier street. It's a cut through. It's and quite commercial. Even some of the properties on that street are storefronts. So that's where it sits. The second thing that was very interesting is they had lived in this house for quite some time and had rented it. So it rented the bottom, or rented one of the levels. And then they moved out. They got themselves another house, and now they're renting both parts. And the conversion of that, even though they didn't do anything, just kind of brought them into so there were a lot of questions about that. And now we've learned that really this, as a raised ranch, even though it's now rented, isn't really any different than a raised ranch single family, from what it actually is in there.
So is it a
They didn't do any
multi-family?
changes that weren't there when they were living there, but the whole owner occupied, there's definitely some.
Is it a multi?
Well, that's what happened. So now they kept saying these things, and I'm like, what? I don't understand, Fergus. What are you talking about? And it took me a while to realize, when the town, all other raised ranches, it's like they're not even different sizes. They're all like 1,100 square feet, 1,200 square feet. But this guy, in his square footage that he's being taxed on now, is that lower level. If you look on the field card, it has the first floor of 800. Judy's not liking something.
That's
It's
right,
not
I'm
below
not like
grade.
something. All right, so this is a common misconception. I'm looking at this. This is technically a high ranch. I can tell by looking at the house. It's a high ranch, it's not a raised ranch. All right, so here's what happens with a raised ranch. The door is like in the middle of 2 floors. You walk into a small foyer, it's maybe 4 by 4 feet. You walk downstairs about 5 or 6 steps, and you get to what could be a family room or where the garage is, right? Or you walk up 4 or 5 steps and you get to where the ranch is. The way that the town, or the first floor, the way that the town assesses these is they look at that 1,200 square feet or whatever it is on the main floor, and then the lower level, they call it like a finished raised basement, but we don't have a finished raised basement here. We have a first floor, because that first floor, the reason why it's, 808, right? Is because you have a garage in there, and that's taking up the other part of the square footage. Okay, so you have somebody on the bottom floor, the garage goes to one of the apartments, and then somebody on the second floor, and that's how this particular one is set up. Okay, So it's
Side.
actually not even, actually, it's, yeah, because you gotta walk upstairs to get to the main level. So they just created that lower level. They made that into sometime, at one point, it appears to me, they made it into an in-law. And then when they had the family that was there on the main floor, they rented out the in-law apartment. And then when they moved, that's when it became listed as a family duplex.
Well, when they
Does
moved
that
out,
make sense
they're
to you?
no
Or do you have
longer-
anything to add to that, Paulette?
when they leave, when it's no longer owner occupied, that's when they had to convert it to a family multi.
That's
If it's
exactly what I just said.
Yeah, so it's when
That's
they moved
exactly
out.
what I said.
That just
Well,
happened.
it's not raised ranch. Paulette, what do you have
Did
to
say
add to
it's a
that?
raised ranch.
Well,
It's
the first
just, it's such an odd lot, it's sideways. And usually you have the garage just like you would, but it is a raised ranch. You just can't
The other
see.
side, I'm looking at the other side. I can't see, where is the entrance? Is it on the second floor or? I don't see where the entrance to the second floor apartment is.
So this is Ronique. Catherine, are you looking to make a correction to the field card or?
Well, and Ross couldn't get back. I had to look at this appeal because they were so passionate about, and then they were pulling out more and more comps, and that's what it finally came down to. So I didn't ask Ross until last night, like at 11 o'clock. So there's no reason he should have it, but I think that's what I'm asking I know that's what I'm asking. Why is he the only raised ranch that's being, that's including that first floor in his lease? That is his question. I mean, and you can see all the comps that he did. So
he made an apartment out of that. You know what? I don't want to make a decision on this until I actually physically go look at that house.
This is
I'm
Ronique.
sorry.
Ross, did you have
I
a
need to
input
look
on
at
this?
it.
okay.
This is Ronique. Ross, did you have input
You don't
on
need
this?
me for a vote, but I'm just saying that's how I feel.
You know, Paula, when I'm looking at the notes here, Paula in my office did make some changes to it. We had a finished basement on there, and you know, she took that off and changed that to base area and made it as a house on a slab. You know, the difference between this and a raised ranch is that a lot of times in the raised ranches, that lower level is below grade or partially below grade, and in this case, it's not.
That is correct. But they presented it. I get the confusion. I was like, because they were so, as soon as I said raised ranch, he said exactly. And that's what he had pulled all those comps for the raised ranch. And I asked them, you know, about because I always do this for the raised ranch. And they were like, yeah. So I can see from the picture why everybody's confused. I'm not against, but that's their story. And you can tell in July is when they moved.
Mm-hmm. This is Kathleen. There's
And that's
pictures of the
when-
interior. Oh, it's on realtor.com. You can see the inside of the house. If that helps anybody determine whether it's a raised ranch or not, I don't know.
All right, I'll look at that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt, Catherine. Go ahead.
No,
I
this is good.
appreciate that.
Because I think that's the crux of this issue. And in July, when they moved and they moved out, it had always been rented on the bottom, or it had always been rented. I was assuming it was the bottom, but and that's why it was only when they moved out that it went to
Your
this
input is
whole
invalid.
different classification. Thank you.
It always comes up with you.
I talk a lot, apparently, but I'm very thoughtful. I do thoughtfully present the appeals. So,
So
it's called a Slim Jim unit. Where is that? And then the new duplex got an address. Like just a lot of these changes converted
there's a
to
lot, and that's confusing me, Catherine.
Yep.
Is
Well, I
all
think
these changes on here
I
and
think
how they all interlink with each other?
they interlink because of the change of use, the owner occupied, and I've just worked on and we just passed as a town, and I was bigger working on accessory dwelling units. So
This is not a raised ranch, it's a high ranch. It's a high ranch, it's not a raised ranch.
okay,
I'm looking at the interior pictures, that's what it is.
where'd you get the interior pictures? I would love to.
That's what I said, realtor.com, Catherine.
Realtor.
Okay,
11 pictures. Yeah.
I'm looking at the MLS, and I'm
All right.
looking at the main level, and they're calling it a raised ranch, however, it's a high ranch. A high ranch is when
Well,
you
this-
walk up a flight of stairs to the main level.
right.
Now, we
And
already know that that lower level, which is at grade, that's because it's at grade, it's not a raised ranch, but you know, you have that, and then you walk up a flight of stairs to the main level.
What about 32? Could you scroll down? 32 Warsaw was the comp piece so because it was also, it's sideways. And that is on the town as a raised ranch. They presented it as a raised ranch.
Is that the one they added photos for?
Correct, because I told
Because
them, I
that
said, what?
looks like a raised ranch to me.
Pardon?
I said that one looks like a raised ranch to me. The one that he submitted photos to, let me just double check. He had like 20 some odd photos.
What was the address on Warsaw?
32. He has.
I don't see anything on the MLS from that.
No, because but the picture of it is, he did
It starts on page 17.
Okay, I'm just telling you guys that this subject is a high ranch. It is not a raised ranch. You walk in, you have to go up a flight of stairs to get to that main floor. You don't walk into a half foyer and walk 4 or 5 stairs or whatever, 6 stairs down to the first floor and 6 stairs down to the 6 stairs up to the second. It's a high ranch.
Could I just ask what it was classified as 2 years ago? Do you have the records for that? Was it ever listed as a raised ranch?
This is Russ. Let me go back.
This is Kathy with
So
a
in the
20
prior-
minute.
Thank you.
Time check. Thank
For
you.
2019, it was a raised ranch.
And
That's still incorrect, though.
Well,
Still
but
incorrect.
that's it's
Oh.
and Ross.
For what it's worth, a raised ranch is more marketable than a high ranch. If you're only talking single family, but now you have a 2-family because you have above grade on the first.
No, I take that back.
Well,
I was on 32 Warsaw.
210 Jennings. And then that's my last valiant effort to, because all his comps are raised ranches. And that was the gist of the conversation.
it became a 2-family once he moved out and he rented both.
But when did you say he moved out?
July.
Okay, because I see the new duplex addresses are in 18.
He didn't live there. They had bought it and had lived there and rented one of them, which
Yep.
your owner occupied. It's an entirely different thing. Then when they moved out and decided to keep it and just rent both parts, they
That's
said
when it became
it was just all, they didn't understand all the changes, and then their taxes went up a lot.
Well, and I see here, so it says new duplex addresses in August of 18, right? So would that have been technically when they moved out, or did they convert it to a duplex? And then at that point, and then I've got under building permits, there was one pulled on April of 20. And it says convert one family dwelling with in-law.
They had bought it.
I believe Ross.
Right,
has
this is Ross. It looks like they pulled the permit to convert it on April 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
It was completed on July 17th.
And we don't know what is classified before this.
I don't think it was classified for the prior reval as a raised ranch. And now it's a family duplex.
Okay,
So I believe we spent a lot of time on this property. Is there any other discussions?
but if it's a raised ranch, they shouldn't have that lower. And that's his argument. So I think I'm with you. We need to, and then the other part is where it actually is. It is not a neighborhood raised ranch. So when you look at all the other comps, his land value is pretty consistent and his improvements are not quite double, but everybody else's improvements are between 80 and 100,000 and he's at like, I think 160.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where he got his 50,000 off. He just thought, so yes, you're right. We can call the vote, but I'm still going to submit that number if we wanted to get to it a couple of different ways. If we still thought that 404 was too high for its location, he is requesting a value of 354.2.
I'm not happy with this at all. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So he had a single family and you converted to a two family, but now he wants to pay single family taxes.
This is Paulette. By the way, how did he get permission to convert that? Because he's in a C zone and he needs, I don't know, 7,500 square feet of property to have that two family there. And he's only got 4858. So who was the genius to let him do that?
I believe, Kathleen, you have your hand up. You had your hand up.
This is Kathleen. I was just looking at the notes. He did apply for a duplex address, 210 and 212 in 2018, right? That's below the Slim Jim unit thing. So 2 years ago, they at least started to get two different addresses for it. So I do feel like he needs to be taxed on the lower level, that it shouldn't be treated like a raised ranch. If he's renting it as two, I'm not saying that the market value at 404 is correct, because we seem to think that duplexes sell less than single families sell. But I do think that he's being, that the calculations are correct. We had that other one, remember, on South Pine Creek Road, kind of the funky brown one that backed up to the marsh. Oh no, on Ruane Street, remember? It looked similar to this, where the door was there with the garage next to it.
Yeah.
It looked very much like that. And I actually just Googled high ranches, and there's pictures, there's articles on, they actually say that they're splits, but whatever. There's, I think it, and that gentleman, I believe, was also being taxed on the first floor. So I do seem to think that he should be, that it should be treated the way that I think we're treating it correctly. The question is the market value okay? If that's a super busy location, should he have a traffic adjustment or something, which he doesn't have? And, is that the correct value is 404 the correct value? I don't know.
Well,
that's what.
Do you want to make an amendment, or are we going to vote on the original request?
I think we need to vote on the original.
Yeah, I think his argument was that he's a raised ranch, and I think the answer to that is no. And he priced all the raised ranches. If he comes back and gives us better comps to say duplexes, of this size don't sell for this price, then he may have a case another time. I don't know.
Then this is Veronique. I would like to call a vote then. All those in favor for approving the appellant's requested value, please raise their hand.
I know I'd be lonely.
All right. I'm
One in
lonely.
favor. All those opposed, raise your hand. We have 5 opposed. Any abstentions? No. So the vote is denied, or the motion is denied. We have 1 in favor, 5 opposed, and no abstentions. Kathy, would you like to call the vote?
Okay, for appeal number 152 to reduce the appraised value to
$354,200. The motion failed with a vote of 1 in favor and 5 opposing.
Great. Thank you. Did you have another one, Catherine?
I do. It's too early in the evening, right? Okay. Appeal 126 for 41 Vesper Street. The owner is Margaret Anania. I'd like to make a motion to reduce the town's value of $497,600 to a requested value of $435,000.
I'll second it.
Second.
Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Judy Zabak seconds.
So again, this is a multifamily, kind of questionable. They have an accessory dwelling unit. So her husband, Joseph, we've heard some of his appraisals. So there is a professional appraisal done by Joseph in the file. And what makes this legit, so it was a standard cape. They expanded the standard cape on the main floor to give them 4 bedrooms. And then upstairs has always been 2 rooms and the bathroom, little kitchen, and that's always been their accessory apartment. Always, I mean, long time. So that's why it's listed as 2,500 square foot, 5 bedroom. But the upstairs is technically their rental property. So he's a professional appraisal. We've seen some of his appraisals in I've heard a few during this Board of Assessment Appeals, and he submits one dated October 1st with an opinion of $435,000. So if you want to take a look at what he has used, but
I'm okay with that.
20 Pierce Street comes up again. We should have scored that one.
popular one. And look, we don't have that many 2 families, and we can see that there are kind of a variety of styles and usage. So
This is Kathleen. Where's Vesper Street, Catherine? Is that
so Vesper, you go past Chips on your right and you take a left like you're going to Ward, and it's like this. So if you came out of McKinley School, it's one of those streets that go straight.
Off of Naps.
Off of
It's right by the McKinley entrance. There's that stop sign, right? And if you're going towards Ward on Naps, it's like the next street over, the second street on your right.
Got it.
Are they closer to McKinley on this one, or are they closer to?
I actually
Old
think they're on the
Stratfield?
corner.
This is Kathleen. They're closer to they're one off Old Stratfield.
Okay.
It's a big piece of property. The acreage looks big for the street. It's almost like it's a double lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
The street has a lot of kind of mixed type properties. They're residential, but you got multis, you got singles, you've got pretty diverse.
Mm-hmm. This is Kathleen. Is it big enough to subdivide? It looks like it's a double lot. There's like 3 of them on that street that look large, but maybe they're not quite. Let's see. 0.23 acres, 10,000 square feet, right? Do I have the right card? Yeah.
Looks like the one next to him might have been rebuilt to the left of what Ross is showing.
Yes, that's probably not big enough.
They are at 10,000. Yep.
So
I'm okay with this, by the way. I look at the comps, Valley Road, there's no contest there. Valley Road 450, they're saying 435. Longfellow, similar, 411, they're right in the middle there. I've got no issue with this request at all. And especially when you look at the condition as well, and the apartment is very small.
Right.
I'd go for this with no, I'm done. I don't need any more information.
Well, that's what we've heard his other appraisals. They were well received. He did quite a few on like Mona Terrace area, and I was like, oh, I've heard that name. I just met that gentleman. And you look at the pictures. There's it's fair condition. There's nothing fancy schmancy there.
Okay,
So
is there any more discussion? This is Ronique. I would like to call a vote then for appeal number 126. All those in favor of approving the appellant's requested value, please raise their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Paulette, how do you vote?
Favor.
Oh, okay, great, thanks. We have 6 in favor. The vote passes unanimously for appeal number 126. Kathy, could you call the vote?
For appeal number 126 to reduce the appraised value to $435,000, the vote was unanimous and granted. That's it.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Enough said.
Thank you so much, Kathy. All right, Catherine, you're up again.
okay, appeal number 5,
What was
95
it?
What was that appeal again?
45.
45. Okay.
Property address is 95 Prince Street. Sophie Sadowski. I'm sorry, Sophie Sadowski, and I'm sorry, I don't have her husband's. Thomas.
Thomas.
This was a phone interview, and they were both on the phone. Okay, so this is a and I'd like to make a motion
Thank you.
to adjust the town's fair market value of $431,600 to the appellant's fair market value of $355,500.
Is there a second?
I'll second. This is John.
Thanks,
John
John.
Foley, your second.
So this is a quite small two-family. In total, it's less than 1,500 square feet. So each apartment is about 750 square feet, a little less, and it is they have 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, and they do live there. Okay, so the comps that they presented, 208 Fairchild Avenue is 1,900 square feet. They're all these comps they're the old ones. This house was built in 1901. The comps are all 1920, not between 1909 and 1920. So they're all quite old. So Fairchild Avenue at 1,900 square feet sold for $430 November of 20. And the MLS said it is updated, large kitchens. Unit 2 was completely redone with a luxury bath. And that's the $430. So they're saying that they're in quite poor condition, and they're saying they could not be anywhere near $430. 41 Grassmere is again 1,920 square feet, and the MLS does say that it was renovated. That sold in March for $407. 241 Old Stratfield is 1,500 square feet. And those units, they have a 3-bedroom unit and a 1-bedroom unit there. No renovations were mentioned, but that sold for $290 in December of 20. And 142 Brentwood, which we've heard, I think that was one of Kathleen's comps, which is really an adorable looking farmhouse. That is 1,325 square feet, so actually a little tinier, a little smaller. And that sold for $385. Oh, I'm sorry. It's listed for $385. It's under deposit. And the MLS said that has a new kitchen and bath. And this property, they did send in a bunch of pictures, so you could take a look at the photos.
Oh, hang on, Catherine. I think we have a visitor, Joel. Do you know what conference room they're supposed to be in? Anyone?
Who's the visitor?
Joel.
Joel
John,
Chamberlain.
What meeting, Ronique?
I know
we're in meeting
RTM
room
is on
1.
3.
3. Okay.
RTM is
Joel,
3. We're in room 1 right now.
Joel, your meeting's in RTM room 3. If you can hear me.
I feel like I'm in a science fiction movie when people just kind of pop in and pop out. I just so.
Oh, I'm looking at the pictures of this place, and here's, yeah. I'm looking at the pictures here. 1 second. What were they looking for?
They're looking for
55.5. I probably wouldn't even give it that much. That's a very reasonable request, because you know I like to say when it's reasonable, it's reasonable. Oh, that's reasonable. Look at everything here.
Yep.
Look at the interior. It needs a lot of work. Matter of fact, when I look in that basement, Paulette, it almost looks like there's asbestos there. So I'm good with that 355.
Was that time check, Kathy? Was that? Oh, never mind.
No,
yeah. So
and
does
Joel's
anyone
on mute,
have any
but
further?
he's still here. Joel is still here.
5 minutes.
I know, Joel Chamberlain. You're in the wrong meeting. The RTM meeting's in meeting number 3. I sent you a message. I don't know if you can hear me, Joel.
This is Kathleen. I think he's from AON, even though it says AON afterwards, which is, one of the consultants to do, I think, insurance or one of those things for the town. So he's not an RTM member, but he's probably been asked to come before the RTM. So just trying to think.
Oh, he's off mute.
Yeah,
Is there any...
sorry about that. I can hear you now. I guess I will go look for the right phone number then and get to the right spot.
It's WebEx 3. Did you call
WebEx
in?
3.
I don't know if anybody has the WebEx 3 number. I can text Karen Wackerman if you want and have her call you. Let me do that. Joel?
Okay.
Might be able to pull the number up.
WebEx 3? Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah,
I
I was
have
on
that.
last night, so I think I have it.
Hey, Joel, you're breaking my
Okay.
timing record here now. This doesn't count as my time, guys.
I'm sorry.
On the timer.
I'll figure it out. Sorry about that.
Would you like to try to
No,
give us a premium on this? What type
I'll
of
have to
risk
check with my
category it is?
actuary.
Okay.
I have the number, I believe.
Okay, they had to take it down.
I got the doc up. I just got to find the number.
Can you chat it? No. I know we don't usually give the phone numbers out.
I'm using my phone. Oh, I understand.
You can text it. Well, whatever.
I think I can do that. Hold on. I gotta juggle some stuff here.
What's the timer that we have? It 7 minutes or 11 minutes?
I thought it was 10.
And I've asked for. So I think we get 7 and
You
then
want me
another.
to do 7? Okay, I'll do 7. Okay. You just get 7 right now.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was
Joel.
There's nobody listening on the free conference line now.
So
okay.
it'll be on the record.
Yeah, I think this is the right number. I'm gonna give it a shot.
Oh.
But well, can you just Oh, Ronique went away.
I had to turn off my stove. I forgot.
Joel, did you get that number?
Yes, I have it now. Thanks.
I think that's the right number. That's to dial into the WebEx.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Bye, good luck.
Hey.
Okay, so we have
I
the
think-
comps. We have the comps of 430 for far superior, condition 47,
Oh, no.
385 lift, and
So we have
290.
another visitor. So Sorry, Tom. You guys are in meeting room number 3. Are you for the RTM meeting?
I sure am.
This is
Yeah, meeting room number 3, if you can find it.
Sorry.
No worries. I think we're ready to vote on this, right?
I don't think you can make this stuff up. It's just so funny. Okay. So putting everybody in the good.
Kathleen, you're on mute if you're talking.
No, I'm making comments. Thank you. I don't need to make comments. I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, there's Karen
this
texting
is-
me that. Karen did give me a
Veronique,
number. I think they're good.
Okay. So this is Veronique. I think there's no more discussion. I'd like to call a vote for appeal number 45 to lower the town's value of $431,600 down to the appellant's requested value of $355,500. All those in favor, please raise your hand. So we have 6 in favor. The vote passes unanimously. Kathy, can you call the vote?
Appeal number 45 to reduce the appraised value to $335,500 was granted unanimously.
I think 355, right? Am I wrong?
355, yeah, 355,500.
That's
Okay,
it.
perfect. Thank you so much. Next
One
one,
more,
Catherine.
please. One more, please.
Nice.
Number 51.
What is it?
51?
51. 51 for 295 Country Road. The appellants were James and Susan Bala. And they are requesting a reduction to the town's value of $682,700 to a fair market value of $535,000.
Do I have a sec? Oh. Give a
So
motion.
they have a February 2020.
Wait, did you make a motion?
Do you have a motion, Catherine?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that I was trying to word it all in one. So can we grant I would like to make the motion to grant the appellant's value of $535,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, Gister. For the Gister.
Judy Zablock second. Judy Zablock second. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so they went for a loan in February of 2020, and there is an appraisal for People's Bank that shows the value at $535,000. Page 11 or page 7 of 7 of the appraisal report. Been writing it down, but there we can see the appraised value for People's is $535,000. So that's I think the best piece of information I have here. And if we want, I don't have to belabor with all the comps and the so forth, because again, this is a 2,900 square foot multifamily. 2,200 square feet is for the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and there's another 600 square feet for 1 to 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. It's a 12,000 square foot lot, and it was built in 1940. So again, kind of a unique property, and that it's not an equal. There's 2,200 square feet, and then there's 600, which we might almost call an accessory apartment.
This is John. I'm looking at the comparables here, and it looks like comparables 1, 2, and 3, which are on page 6. Looks like, are they just rental houses? Because I only see one row for unit 1 and nothing underneath that.
They do not rent the second unit.
Oh, that's why. So it's an owner occupied with the second one.
And it isn't more of an accessory apartment because it's so small compared to the other one. It's almost the secondary. That's one of the definitions for accessory apartment. or accessory dwelling units or the.
Castle Avenue is just free family. Do you see that?
Yeah, I do, but why didn't they put in unit, did they group everything together up top?
Because they're owner occupied.
Right.
Okay.
And they're also the first ones when you see this type of approach, they do the income approach. So you're actually looking at comps for the income.
Okay.
And if you scroll down further, there will be comparable sales. So they do the appraisal in two different ways for these properties. So
Gotcha.
that's why, and it is the sales approach. You can see on the next page that comes up with the 535. Yep. And that's why I put us right to the page 7 of 7 for the appraisal to find the 535 number. And
So
because
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Kathleen?
Now, when was this appraisal done? February of 2020?
And that's what I was just going to say, because that's when they went for their loan in February of 2020. So some of them were comps, and then we can discuss more comps that were closer to it. But what they're really saying that's going on in their area is that there were two families that were, so 206 Country Road, and you can't look this up because just like 206 Country Road, they're at 295, but 206 and 311 Country Road were both multifamilies that were sold in November of 2019 for 385, in May of 2019 for 387, and both were knocked down, and two side-by-side townhomes were put up on both of those properties. So what was sold after the teardowns was two on the same piece. They bought it for 385 and they sold the units for 700 and 689. And then the one that was bought for 387, one person bought both units for 1,140,000. So the two units of the duplex were bought together. So again, that's where they, it's hard to find comps and value. Now they're not asking for anywhere near 385. They're looking for 535.
Right. This Kathy,
okay
we had
to
that
vote
one
with
on Hunyadi the other night, right? That was a duplex on Hunyadi. I don't remember what we did with that one, but that's right around the corner from Country Road. Remember that brick 1900s one?
It's the accessory. The Hunyadi was an investment property, and both upstairs and downstairs were the exact units. And I should remember, I think that they wanted in the mid 3s and we didn't grant it.
Yeah, this Kathleen, we did grant. We did grant it, but I don't know if we granted it all the way down. I would have to look and see. I know I voted against it, but I know it passed. So
okay,
yeah,
maybe I remember that.
No, I'm just curious. That's another two-family, sort of close to Country Road.
Yeah, but that's very different, and they were smaller, and they're both rentals. This is,
Right.
really an accessory apartment.
But it's listed as a
multifamily because it is, and they're owner occupied, so they really wouldn't have to listen. The whole area is fraught with definition, so I don't want to go down that hole again of the raised ranch and the high ranch and the owner occupied.
Ross has a question.
No, Hunyadi was.
So Ross, just to finish up with Kathleen, 221 Hunyadi was amended to 440 and granted in part.
Ross,
sorry.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, we are good, Ross. Nice to know there's backup. Keeping me honest. Okay. So he had that, and then and we can take a look again at the rental and sales approach. To be quite honest, they don't rent out the accessory apartment.
Well, here's how I look at it. Really, it's a single family with a small little apartment, really.
Right.
And they're actually at a disadvantage for both units. Because who wants to do that? You could have a nice, good-sized single family to rent. Either if they don't live there, it's going to be hard to rent that if they're not living there. You know what I mean? Because there's somebody else. It's kind of like somebody in an in-law, but it's not. You know what I mean? I don't think your 535 is crazy. The 682 is out of sight. It's nowhere even close. Now for this, that unit, it was like, what, 600 square feet? that what it was?
Correct.
Yeah,
And I
it's
mean,
600 square feet. Do you know how small that is?
and that it could be a 2-bedroom, because they say they have 5 bedrooms and they live in the main part, and they said no, they have 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. So
Yes, that's
yeah,
a really tiny.
2-bedroom.
That's like 2
So,
closets and a kitchen.
So, and I mean, the appraisal was done for a bank. It was done in 2 different ways. I understand that it's February and not October, but it is at 535. And I'm not really sure that we're seeing much appreciate that. That is also the area that is currently in court for the 830G. And we see what's happening. You know, they're just tearing them down and putting up duplexes. So
I'm ready to vote. I go for. I'm for it. I'm ready to vote.
but I don't like to be surprised. I want everybody's discussion. I don't want to address if anybody has any hesitancies, but I don't like to belabor an appraisal.
I think
All
we're
right.
okay to vote.
Okay, Ronique.
All right, so this is Ronique. All those in favor of granting appeal number 51 down to the requested value of $535,000, please raise your hand. So we have 6 in favor. The vote passes unanimously. Kathy, could you call the vote?
For Appeal 51, to reduce the appraised value to $535,000, the vote was to grant it unanimously.
Those are the best votes.
Perfect.
Best votes. And Kathleen, I think multifamilies are complete.
Nice.
Right.
So what do we
who
have
else
next?
wants to go? Thank you all, by the way, for listening through my theories.
Kathleen, what's next on the agenda? Oh, of course, Catherine.
So this is Kathleen. I think just mostly Mill Hill. I have a bunch and John has a couple left. And I think both of the ones I left a little bit early last night, but I think you did all but 2 on Bronson Road, John. Is that accurate?
Correct.
I
I
so.
saved those for you.
Thank you. You're so
Ross,
kind.
did you have your hand up or? Oh, okay. Do you want to do those 2 on Bronson Road then? And knock them out?
Well, let me, I mean, the interesting thing is I looked at his and a lot of the, I'm not sure where to start. And Peter has them too. The comps show up on a lot of the same ones. We have a lot of the same properties. So I'm just trying to.
Can I knock out my 2 east of North Benson's and be done with it?
Oh, are you ready? Sure.
Yes, I am.
All right, let's get, those are red. Those always go first.
Those are red. And Catherine, you're with us, right? Still? Yes, you are. I see you there. Okay.
Unless if anybody wants to, what do we have 6? Anybody want to drop off for a dinner break? I had dinner before. I don't have to. I'll stay.
The reason why is because you were the driving force behind this one and tabling this one. So I'd like to
yeah,
do
he did
appeal.
say yesterday.
Yeah. So, and Ross is here too, so that's a really good thing as well. So I'm like to do appeal number 586. The property address is 77 Burroughs Road. The owners are Bridie and Kevin Murray. The appellant is Bridie Murray. The town has a current value of $575,000. I'm not making a motion yet. The requested value is $440,000, but we had originally discussed this. And if you look in the file, there was comps on Burroughs Road. However, a lot of them were further down the street with Burroughs, but there were questions about pricing codes, topography, if there was a sewer line running through the house or not. So we put in an appeal to, or a ticket to Ross, and Paula went out there and visited the property. And I think that we can probably make some card corrections. I just don't know what the card corrections are going to tell us quite yet. So if you see on 26, page 26 of the file is where we made the request to have them go out and take a look at the property. And then on page 27, I believe it looks like Paula made some adjustments. Is that correct, Ross? Based on this, about adding hardwood floors, changed bath to old style, change room count, or to old style, changed room count from 9 to 7, percentage good on outbuilding 2 and outbuilding 3, as well as also change the grade and depreciation from 4 to 3, and took the land down from 100% to 95%. Did I get all that right, Ross?
You did. And
Okay.
the revised value is 517,900.
517,900. So at this point, I would like to make a motion to accept the changes to the card so that they're applied to the 2020 grand list, and then bring the town value at that point down to 517,900.
I think you have to motion on the appellant's request first, and then we can motion for the, right? Am I wrong? Kathleen, I think you have to motion on the
Yeah.
appellant's
This is
request.
Kathleen. It's a little bit different. This one's a little different than the others. Like sometimes we have the generator on there and they want the generator taken off. You know, those are very clear corrections. This is, you know, some of it's corrections and some of it's a change in depreciation based on the condition of the home. And generally we don't necessarily call those card corrections. So I don't want to go down that path that everybody comes out and then the assessor's office says, okay, yeah, your house isn't as nice as we said, so we're going to change your grade. So it's I'm trying to figure out what's a card correction. Like Ross, what would be considered a card correction on this, and what is a, you know, what is a judgment condition change, or should we just tackle the whole thing as one motion? I don't know.
This is Ross. It's tough to say. I mean, I think you should accept the card corrections. I mean, if we had gone out and this wasn't a BAA appeal, this is what the card would look like for next year.
Okay. So you would consider these card corrections. I just don't want to go down, you know, everybody calling your office and saying, oh, you know, my depreciation's too high. Can you lower my depreciation? You know, that.
Yeah, we do that frequently anyway, when people say, you know, my house isn't as good as you think it is, or I've got this problem. So we go out and we look and you know, make adjustments as needed.
Okay, so then I'm comfortable, John, if you just do it as a two-step. So those are more accepting the card corrections would be the first motion. We vote on that, and then we vote on the revised value, which is the 517,900, to see if we want to take them to the 440. Does that make sense?
But the first motion to put on the table is for the requested value, and then
No, actually, when it's a card
changes,
we put the card correction value on the table, and it's not that it does, you know, this it's sort of like the assessor's request, and then the minutes we say, you know, to correct for XYZ to remove the generator. So we do it as a number 1 and number 2 as opposed to an amendment. So a little bit.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion, put a motion on the table to make card changes per the assessor's office of the hardwood floors, changing the bath style, the condition percentage good for outbuilding 2 and outbuilding 3, changing the grade and depreciation, as well as putting a 5% discount on the land for topography, which would then change the card to 517,900 as the town's value.
This is Kathleen, I'll second it. Yep.
Kathleen seconds, and then do you make a motion for the requested value now too?
No, we have to vote on that
We
first.
vote on the
right?
card correction first.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. So all those any discussion on the card correction? Perfect. So I'd like to call a vote for appeal number 586 to amend the town's value of $575,000 to make a couple of card corrections for the from the assessor's office to a value of $517,900. All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have six. Paulette, how do you vote?
Oh, I'm sorry, I fell asleep. I'm in favor of it.
It's the
Thank you
Robert's
so
rules
much.
thing.
It's ridiculous is
So
what it is.
I have 6 in favor. The vote carries unanimously. And is there a motion for the?
So now I would like to
call that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Kathy, you want to call that?
Okay, for appeal number 586, to reduce the value to $517,900 per card corrections, the vote was granted unanimously.
Thank you. All right. So now I would like to make a motion on the table for appeal number 586 at 77 Burroughs Road to change the town's value from $517,900 to the appellant's requested value of $440,000.
Sure, second.
Kathleen,
second.
Thank you. Okay. So if we go back up to the top, just to refresh ourselves here with the file. So they talk about the land appraisals on page 2, about how the land is different based on her value compared to neighbors' values. However, I believe we came to the conclusion last time, or at least I did, that the comps that they were using here were further down and actually I think on the other side of Black Rock Turnpike, which may have put it into a different neighborhood code. In point 2, the appellant talks about the land is very steep and rocky and would need a lot of work if we wanted, or if she wanted to, build on it. Okay. There's also talk about the building details that are inadequate. I believe that those were taken care of based on what we just approved. Again, talks about house is overvalued and nearby comps. She's at 77, and we're looking at 571, 516. I don't believe any of these sold. Let me just see here if they did have, she said at the time of the hearing, there was a house on the corner for sale that was appraised by the town at 600, but it was for sale at 500,000. So we have that. And then what you'll see as you scroll through the file, okay, is the comps that were provided. And then we start getting down into photos of the outbuildings and such. Again, I believe we took care of, or I should say Paula took care of, and we confirmed the changes to the conditions of the outbuildings with that. One of the things that on page 23 that I do want to talk about and point out here is manhole covers for sewer line. Okay, so Paula went out, took a look at this, and as you'll scroll down, you'll see the teamwork between Paula and Scott from engineering. And you'll see on page 28, Scott, I believe, has drawn where the sewer line is, and it doesn't go on their property. There's no easement for it. As you go through the emails, the gist of it is that there was a sewer hookup in 1966. There's no connection to the storm drains. And basically what I believe was said in this here is that it may be that is a septic tank that never got removed after they got hooked up to the sewer system with that. Since it was in the mid to late 60s that the sewers came back on, and that's what that manhole cover is related to.
Is there any questions?
Their land does need to be depreciated, in my opinion. It's, that's a tough piece. That's a tough piece. There's a topo. What is the depreciation on the land here?
We just approved a 5% correction, so bringing it from 1.0 down to 0.95.
Oh,
That
that's
probably should be more.
That
But
should be
you know what? But the thing is, as I look at it, for the house and what it is, and for the issues, I mean, so you've got that other building. I think they're reasonable also.
I agree. This is Paul. I agree that they're reasonable, especially that I'm looking at a comp that's sold a little bit outside the period, but on Burroughs Road, 151 Burroughs, and it's a split. They're calling it a split ranch. I don't know what it really is. It looks like a split to me. It looks like a ranch, really. But that one sold for $484 even, and that one is that's a 6-room, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 fireplace. That one sold for $484, and it's in beautiful condition inside. Granite countertops, white cabinets, beautiful bathrooms, to modernize today, upgraded to what you expect to see today.
And you said that was 151 Burroughs?
151 Burroughs. There were a couple others too. Let me see what those were. I think those might have been less 7. So that's way on the other side. And then the one I sold on Burroughs, but that was too small.
So that one, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 houses down from the appellant. Looks like they have a bigger yard than the appellant, at least on the GIS. But
What's the topo on it too? Because the topo on the appellants is horrible.
The inside is real. I mean, it's completely updated.
Kathleen has a question.
I'm sorry, this is Kathleen. Where's the garage on their property? Is it in the lower level? You said the topography is bad. One of the shots showed the garage at the rear of the property. So I'm just wondering, am I looking at the wrong, maybe look at the wrong picture on the GIS. If it drops off that much, how do they get a garage in the back?
About it.
Maybe
good
Ross can call
question.
it up. Let's see.
That garage is really old and was built a long
Yeah, I
time.
know, but this is Kathleen, if you can get to it, unless it was just like a storage shed and it's down, several levels down.
Was it like a horse stall at one point?
This is Kathleen on the GIS. You can kind of see the garage to the left of whatever photo they have on the GIS is an older photo. Yeah, see, they have a driveway going to the garage. So I think that property is to me, that's pretty usable. If you can put your garage that far, I'm not saying I would like it that far from my home, but it does, it's not like they have a cliff in the backyard. If they've got a driveway that goes all the way back. Now maybe that back right corner, it drops off. It looks a little dark there where those trees are. I don't know. But they have good, for, what is it, a half acre almost of land?
to look at the picture where it says on it, manhole cover for sewer line, that, look at that yard. You could see the house, so you can see the structure, and you can see the slope in the yard. I don't think that's very usable.
Yeah, look at that. And you want to go sled riding? Why don't we go over there?
My last house, my kids sled in the backyard, so I know what it's like.
So actually what Ross is showing here, it actually looks like they have two cars parked down there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And there's also, it looks like there's a path from that garage to the back of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got a sloping driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's not a pit. If you look at it from the street, it doesn't pitch down. Like it's not like all you see is the top of the garage. You just think it slopes back slightly, but I don't know. I find that that's usable to me. I don't know, maybe it does go off, but not all lots in town are level. So I don't know.
Did you look
it's like a big piece of property to me. I don't know. They got not 0.95 for their topo. I don't know that I would, compared to some of the other people who have ledge and seriously drop off in their backyard, I think they have some usable space there.
Okay, well then I have an idea. I'm not voting.
That's my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I'm not voting on this then until I go and walk the lot myself. If it's so important that nobody believes it's sloped, I'll go take a look at it myself.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't slope. I'm just saying it doesn't seem like it's a ledge in the back that drops off. That's all.
The appellant is telling us what it is, and we don't believe her. After she was sworn in, we're questioning that. So I'll just go take a walk on the lot. Anybody's welcome to join me if they want to go tomorrow.
I'd go with you.
Okay, Judy.
Do we need to postpone this? Are we going to vote? Or is everybody ready to vote?
I'm ready to vote.
I want the opportunity to look at it because I really think that I think we're discounting the topography here.
I don't think that's fair unless we actually saw it. If we don't want to believe that it is what she said, then we should look at it because that's only fair. We shouldn't just think it's not right if it is. And if it's wrong, and we know that by going. But I think we should look at it.
So do we want to vote on this or do we want to table this? I'm ready to vote, but.
Well, somebody can call the question, which means means no more discussion. You need a 2/3 majority to call the question, which means the vote is called. So, I'll make a motion to call the question if someone wants to second it, but there's no discussion after that happens.
What does that mean, call the question? I don't get it.
Call the question means you're calling for a vote. No more discussion. You want to vote. Unless John withdraws his motion, but I don't think that,
Hold on, I'm just.
This is Ronique. I'll second that motion.
Okay, hold on.
So
Can
now
I just...
you have to, now you take a vote on calling the question, and you need a 2/3 majority for the question to be called. And if not, then it goes back to discussion. So.
All those in favor to call the question, please raise your hand. So we have four approve. Anyone against?
Yeah, I'm against it.
Raise your hand if you're against. So we have 4 in favor, 2 against. The motion carries. So no more discussion. I call to vote on appeal number 586 to lower the appellant's requested value to $440,000, down from the town's appraised value of $575,000. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I have 2 in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. 4 opposed. The motion does not carry. Kathy, can you please call the vote? We have 2 in favor, and that was Paulette and Judy Zablak, and all those, and we have 4 opposed.
So you just screwed this out of an opportunity to see if she was right because you didn't feel like letting us go look at it. When you question somebody's actual statement under oath that their yard is sloped. So because you didn't think it was right, this woman gets screwed. I'm taking a break. I had about enough of you people for right now.
This is Kathleen. With card corrections, they can come back next year. So I know Paulette left, but I'm just saying with a card correction, they were technically, you know, it was granted in part, but that's a card correction. So they can appeal next year if they want to.
So
Okay.
for appeal number 586 to reduce the appraised value to $440,000, the vote was denied. 2 voted in favor, 4 opposed. Paulette and Judy voted in favor.
Ross, you had a question?
I don't know if you still have a quorum, do you?
We have a quorum of 5
We
still
do.
with that poll.
Kathleen, yeah, we still have 5.
Oh, okay. I miscounted.
Do we need to just announce that Paulette is left for a little bit?
Yeah,
I think you just did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, John, did you have another one?
I do.
Let's
All
go.
right.
What is
The next one, hopefully this will finish off east of North Benson. So this is appeal number 575. The property address is 114 Denise Terrace. The owner and the appellant are Jeremy Deidelberg. The town has a value on the property of $1,117,300, and I'd like to make a motion to grant the requested value and change the town's value to $1,047,900, and I'll just say 900 because he had 963 to make it just a flat 900.
Judy's 8 black seconds. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. One of the appellant's arguments is that the square footage of the attic on the card is not correct. The attic is not connected to the HVAC in the rest of the home. The fair market based is upon the attic changes he had and also with comps. So if you go through the file here, you'll see on page 2 that the appellant has 6 comps. And the reason why he put on number 6 on the comp there is that it's very comparable to his house. It was used by the same builder, or was built by the same builder, and very comparable. I believe he referred to it as his twin house. So when you look at it, things to point out with the comps that have been presented. Number 1 has more yard, has fencing, better landscaping, and has done interior updates. Number 2 has 1 less bath. Okay. Number 4 has a better yard, and also is a 10-room house. And then number 5 is a fenced-in yard. Okay. You'll see pictures in here. So on what you see on page 4 is the ductless heating and AC that the appellant has in their attic space above the garage, or in their attic space. And then he presents pictures of the comps that he has. So as you can see, comp 1 is 150 Denise Terrace that they have. And I'll let you scroll through and take a look at the comps as far as the pictures go with the file.
Judy has her hand raised.
Yeah, go ahead, Judy. Thank you, Ronique.
Thank you. You know what? Here's what I'm thinking. And I'm sorry. So I appreciate the attic living space is 525 square feet, not 798 square feet. But I'm sure that's already in the field card all of that way. But the fact of the matter is, he says it's not really livable, then why didn't he put any pictures of the attic? Why are we only looking at that, right? So if it wasn't livable, Show me that it wasn't livable.
Yeah, I mean, he does say
Does that
that.
make sense to anybody? I mean, you know, I like to help the guy, but make the argument. Don't show me just the ductless system. Show me why it's not livable. I mean, I'm little. Can I stand up in the middle? If I look at that, the third story, right? It does look like there's some space. Of course, you're going to have eave storage. You know how it goes up like this.
Yeah,
You're
and he
gonna have-
does say that it is livable, but if he wants to, be in there, he's got to fire it up for 30 minutes in the wintertime to get the room hospitable, and then as well as, in the summertime,
Heat
30
rises.
minutes to put it. Yeah.
Heat rises. I don't buy it for the winter. For the summer, you need the AC. Okay. But
Hang on, we got a visitor. Pagan? Is that? I don't know if I pronounced it right, but you're in the wrong room. I
Patrick
believe
Egan.
you're supposed to be Pagan. So sorry.
It's okay. We could call him Pekin. He probably will laugh if he has his microphone on.
I
It's gotta
believe
be
you're supposed to
Pennsylvania.
be in conference room number 3. If you can hear me.
This is Kathleen. He is our FOI officer, so if anybody has any questions for him, they can. I'm assuming it's that Patrick Egan, but
We may make him late for his appointed time.
he must be on mute, or maybe Kathy has to unmute him. Not sure.
I sent him a message as well.
John, it was nice of him to include all these comps.
Yep.
So am I to understand that he's 900, even with the attic correction, 700 square feet larger than his next door neighbor?
As
And
far
is that
as
the attic space? So even with that difference being the attic space, I'm just going to point that out and say, I'm
This
closer.
is Kathleen. I noticed that as well. All the other ones are quite a bit smaller. The 2,900 square foot Pemberton,
Yep.
even the 3,100 square foot, they're almost 1,000 square feet smaller.
Right.
And they
Not
are. He's a little older, but
I was-
he paid $1.1 million. This is
Hey.
Kathleen. He also paid $1.1 million in 2000.
Yeah,
Wait,
that was 4 years ago. And, these are all
Yeah.
the current sales. And even if we go down to Tuckahoe, that's still 1,000 square feet different.
Smaller. I agree with you.
Calling user number 5. I think you might be in the wrong meeting.
Yeah, you have 2 now.
Yeah. Or it might be the same person. I don't know. You might
is
be
it
in the
just
wrong
that we're
meeting
more
if you're-
interesting than the RTM meeting that people are coming in here?
Yeah, no, Kathleen, I think I'm in the wrong meeting, but I'm not quite sure how I get in the right one. This is where the instructions brought me.
Yeah.
All right, let me try
Is that
another
Patrick?
way. It is.
Ross has the number for you, right? Ross, don't you? Yeah, Ross,
You're muted, Ross.
Ross Murray's here.
I'm gonna 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Yeah, this was a number that came up on the instructions, and then there was another number that it just kept me on hold. But I won't bother you guys any further. Let me
But Ross Murray's
make
here.
another attempt.
Oh, Ross, do you have the number for him? No. Ross is on mute. Ross, you're on mute.
Sent it.
Oh, you know what? Karen, this is Kathleen. Patrick Egan, Karen Wackerman gave me this number, so try this one. I don't know can I type it in the chat?
You can put it in the chat.
Or do you want me to tell you?
Does it end in 438?
No, she gave me a number that ended in 0092.
Okay, that's different than the one I had.
I can tell you what she gave me. She gave me 1422. Okay. So she gave me 1422. 222-00092.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Kathleen.
Sure, sorry about that.
It's all right. Thank you.
Okay. So where we last left off,
still
it
have it.
sounded like we were questioning the comps as far as the sale prices versus the square footage of the appellant being close to 4,400 and everybody else being, for the most part, well under 4,000, more like in the 3,200, 3,300 range. Or
This
on
is
that.
Kathleen, I'm ready to vote.
All right. Any more discussion? Oh boy. Yeah, that's the same number.
Okay. We
Keegan,
voting?
right? Well, Keegan's on the. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. So this is Ronique. I would like to. I am calling a vote for appeal number 575 to bring the town's value of $1,117,300 down to the appellant's requested value of $1,047,900. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. And no abstentions. The vote is denied unanimously. Kathy, can you call the vote?
Appeal number 575 to reduce the appraised value to $1,047,900 is denied. The vote was 0 in favor, 5 opposing.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Oh,
guess
boy.
who's back?
So I must have had the wrong, this is Kathleen, I must have the wrong number, Patrick. Maybe Ross has a different number.
He left.
He left.
He left.
I can text Karen too.
Okay, hey, that wraps up, I believe, the east of North Benson neighborhood.
Yay. Doug.
Oh, I got Mill Hill, the two Bronson ones, Kathleen. I do have one, I think, in the tourney, which might be the last tourney, but I don't know if the appellant has dropped off papers to Ross's office yet. Let me double check on that one.
Yeah,
Ross?
this is Kathleen, and that, well, he was going to submit the map. There was also
Yes.
a question about how FEMA compliance works in the 49% rule. So I don't know if we want to wait, have that conversation when we do the beach, or we could do that. I don't know. It's up to you. If you want to check and see if they're in there.
Yeah, I'll pass unless Ross, you have something.
I was just going to let you know we are caught up with everything that's come in so far, and I don't recall anything being dropped off recently.
Okay.
But it could be in there.
All right. So let's wait on that one, Kathleen.
Okay.
Do you want to do Bronson now, or do you want to wait till Peter is with us as he has comps and all that stuff?
No, this is Kathleen. I think we should make progress and get some of ours out of the way so that when he's here, he can do.
I mean, I'm down to 3 right now, so.
Oh,
I'm good for one more appeal, and then then I'd like to drop off.
Okay, if we can get Paulette back, I don't know if she's gonna come back. Maybe she will. So I was gonna do, where is it here? And this is one that Ross was gonna go visit tomorrow, but I think they're very fair. I think we can take care of it tonight, and then if it ends up being a card correction at the same time, he can just put that in when he makes the change. Ross, are you all right with that? It's the 32 Fields Rock Road, or do you want us to wait until you visit tomorrow? Go ahead. Okay, let me grab that. Of course, where did I put it?
Paulette, are you back?
If we're going to do the Field Rock one, that's going to be appeal number 465.
Thanks, Chad.
No problem.
Have a regal
So
owner. Have a royal owner.
Sorry, so this is appeal number, I haven't done enough of this. Number 465. The property address is 32 Fields Rock Road. The owners of the property are Sean and Grace Kelly. The town has the property valued at $912,600. They're requesting a reduction to $800,000. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's value to $800,000.
Catherine
I'll
gives
second.
seconds. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Excuse me, this is Kathy. Is Paulette back or not?
No.
No.
Okay.
So this property is actually a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath split. It's 2,146 square feet. The appellants came in, both of them, Sean and Grace Kelly. They did have some questions on their field card about how their the value of unfinished attics, the cathedral ceiling, something about dimensions in the basement may have been off. But despite all those card corrections, they also they gave me a couple of comps. They are a split on a larger piece of property, but they noticed that the depreciation code on their house was very high. I think it's at a 6. And also, again, it's a split. It's on 1.5 acres. And they couldn't find a ton of sales comps, but the best, he gave me 2. And one is 1677 Bronson Road, which sold on 8/1/2020 for $760,000. And that is one that we did last night. So that is one of John's comps. And he said he can literally throw 300 yards away. And that is on a busier road, built in 1954 on 1.4 acres. It does have a pool, 2,200 square feet. So it's about similar size. But he felt that that was, he's the only raised ranch, he said, in his neighborhood. He did give me one other comp in Westport that sold for $626 on 6/30/20. And those, I believe, are in the backup. I should have clicked on the backup here.
And Ross
Yeah,
has
this
a
is Ross.
handout.
This is Ross. Let me. Ken has already made some corrections to this card.
Okay.
He did this one today, and the backup documents are in the file at the end.
Okay.
So the new assessment is 846.6.
So did we want to vote on the card correction first? Oh yeah, well, that's what we do. Okay. Any discussion on the card correction first?
We have to make a motion to do that. So Kathleen, do you need to withdraw and make
I
a
was
new
kind of
motion?
just, so yeah, this was one was, do we want to do the card corrections or just do it all together? I guess we can do it the way we usually do it. That's
Okay.
fine. Do the card corrections first. Or is he going to go visit and do more, Ross, or this is it?
He's done what he's going to do.
He's done. Okay. And so did he change the depreciation as well, or no?
Yep, it's a grade 3. Depreciation is at a 4, I believe.
Okay. So sure, we can approve the card corrections if you want. So anyway, I'll withdraw my motion, and I'll make a motion to change the town's value from $912,600 to, what was it, $846,600 to reflect the card corrections. Do I have a second? Okay.
I'll second.
Judy Zablack seconds. Oh, well. So all those in favor of approving the card change from $912,600 to $846,600 for appeal number 465, please raise your hand. The vote passes, the motion passes unanimously, and we don't need to call that vote, right?
Good.
No, okay.
So now I'll make a motion to grant the appellant's request and reduce the town's value from 846,600 to the requested amount of 800,000. So getting back to the comps he provided, as well as, where did I see it? Actually, I believe he calculated his number. He said, if you make these card corrections, I will come in. And I think he said it in his letter right at about 846 with the card corrections. We said model generated amount of 847,724. So he came in right basically where the assessor's office brought him in, based on the town's model. However, he, looking at the comp that sold on Bronson Road, the 720 comp, the one he has in Westport, and a few of the others that we haven't gotten to yet in that area, I think that 800 is still for a split, 2,100 square foot split, where that comp sold for 760, 1.4 acres, 2,200 square feet. It has a pool. I think he has a pool as well. They both have. Does one have a pool?
Kathy, I'm sorry, I missed the second on that last motion.
Oh, sorry. You called up the card.
Catherine. Catherine will second.
Catherine Gift, thank you. Thank you, Kathy.
No, actually, they don't have a pool. So the other one has a pool and it sold for 760. It's bigger. It's a ranch. This is a split. Similar acreage, similar ages. I think he's being reasonable at the 800. So, in that area, there's not a lot of splits. There's quite a few ranches. I did pull out another ranch that was a comp, I think, for one of John's, and that was, in the sevens as well. So I think, and there's a few other appeals on that street for ranches in that area in the sevens, and he's asking for 8. So I think as a split, I think he's, and it's a 2,100 square foot split. I think he's in line, but that's my opinion.
In agreement with Kathleen.
Sorry, Judy?
And Catherine, you had your hand raised too.
No, I didn't hear Judy.
Oh, I'm in agreement with Kathleen. And, when it comes to marketability and saleability, just FYI, if you guys don't know it, we're in Connecticut. Here's what happens. If you have a 2,000 square foot colonial, it's worth more than a 2,000 square foot cape, which is worth more than a 2,000 square foot ranch, even though the ranch costs more to build. The split is below that. Okay, the split is similar to a raised ranch when you talk about value. So a ranch is worth more. So this guy is being exceptionally reasonable, asking for the 800. I'm right there. And Kathleen, I completely agree with you.
Is there any more discussion on this before I call the vote? Okay. I would like to call a vote for appeal number 465 to reduce the town's value of $912,600 to the requested value of $800,000. All those in favor, please raise your hand. We have 5 in favor. The vote passes unanimously. If you can please call the vote, Kathy.
Okay, so because there was a card correction, I believe the at is now 846,000. Is that correct?
This is Kathleen, yes.
6 is the card correction.
Okay, so for appeal number 465, the request to reduce the appraised value to $800,000 was granted unanimously.
Yeah. Perfect. Did you have another one, Kathleen?
Yes, I do. So, just because this is
Paulette
appeal
back?
I'm back.
You're back, Paulette. I've got it. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to eat.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Judy.
Night. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so this is Kathleen. So even though
for the remaining board members, we have Paulette back and Judy dropped off.
Thank you. So even
Sorry,
though that
go
one
ahead.
was not a Bronson Road one, I think it was close enough and there was a comp there. So just want to keep those in mind. So the next one is very complicated. It's appeal number 512. The property address is 1573 Bronson Road. The owners of the property are Alvin and DeRosa Prusoff. The town has the property valued at $1,164,800, and they're requesting a reduction to $675,000. On their form, they did fill out a value of $900,000, but in their appeal, they changed that value to $675,000. So I will make a
Do I have a second?
motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's value from $1,164,800 to $675,000.
Do I have a second?
Sure, I'll second it. It's John.
John Spoli, your second. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so
675,000.
675,000. That's their requested value, right? Let me just change that on my
Thank
own
you.
sheet here. 675. So this is a little bit more complicated property. They purchased it in February of 2020 for $650,000. But it was on the market for almost 2 years, starting at $999,000. It is a, how big is it here? 1573. Thought I put it on my sheet. It's very large. It's 4,460 square feet. And it is a cape. It was on the market for a long time, but the master bedroom is on the second floor. And so whether that's functional obsolescence or difficulty selling, I'm not really sure, but that was one of the features that they said when they purchased the property. They have an appraisal in the package for the 675 number. Like I said, it sold in 2014 for $1,150,000. And then they purchased it for $650,000. And I think Paul, I can check this, but I think the last listing price on it was $799. That's included, I think, in the packet as well to show the history on the market. So, to compare this, and this is actually right next door to that ranch that we just talked about at the ranch that just sold for $720 with the pool, with the kitchen. And that was, a 2,400 square foot ranch. This is a 4,400 square foot cape, but that was on the market for a long time. The listing pictures are online. He didn't say that the condition on the inside was horrible, other than it had been a rental for a while. And I believe we also reduced it at one point in time. I think it had I think, let me take a look at the card again, but I think, did they have an appeal in the past? Oh, maybe they didn't. I thought we had reduced it, but maybe we didn't. But at any rate, this is it's a very unusual property. And like I said, they had originally thought that they were going to request 900, and then when the appraisal came in, they dropped it to 675. And looking at the appraisal, they didn't, most of the comps are north, very far north, 2043 Congress Street that sold for $615 on 720, 241 Hemlock Hills sold for $617 on February 2020, Fallow Field for $700,000 in December of 19, Catamount, again, those are way up north, and 3141 North Street, which sold for $690. The only other one in the packet that I thought was closer to the subject property was 220 High Meadow, and that sold for $730 in March of 2020, and that's 2,900 square feet.
So I do have a question here on the card. It says that it was an unqualified sale with a VC of 25. And I know they said that it was, but they said something about, they said it wasn't a short sale or anything like that. So I guess
Mr. Vernique, was it an arm's length transaction?
I don't know.
This is Kathleen. They told me it was. They said they bought it, on the market. They did say their backyard is, Warner Hill up there, and it drops down. They own up the hill, but they can't put anything up there. The swimming pool is not in very good shape. It's cheaper to take it out than repair it. And it's worse than having no pool to remove it. They think it's not usable. Their shed is on concrete blocks, but and that all the other bedrooms are on the first floor. The master bedroom's on the second floor. There are pictures of the interior in the appraisal, and they didn't hand me the whole appraisal during the appeal. They kind of handed it to me one page at a time, so I don't know that I got all of it. But every time I sort of asked them if they had pictures, and they gave me the pages of the pictures. So I just, I wasn't crazy about those comps being, they have gross adjustments of 42%, 35%, and they're pretty far away from the subject property, So I hesitate to go to the 675 number. I know it was on the market for a long time, and I just look at that ranch next door that sold for 720, and I just find it very hard to, justify a 675 price, even if it was on the market for a long time. And it sold in February. That was a pre-COVID sale. But maybe Ross has more history, and Paulette too. I don't know.
There's just
Catherine has her hand raised.
Thank you, Veronique. So the field card also showed, because I just read their letter, and there was a lot of house inspection things. So I'm a little leery to look at the pictures because we don't know when the pictures were taken versus this. It also shows that after purchasing, they replaced 38 windows and took out a building permit or some type of permit for over $100,000. So if we want to go from the comp away, but if they paid $650, I'm having a really hard time moving off that. But then I look at the permits, and that was done before the October reval, and I think that should add at least 150,000. So, I definitely would be more comfortable at, like an 800 number, just based on the permit that was pulled for windows.
Catherine, I got to look at the pictures because I'm curious how it almost dropped, almost 50% over 6 years.
I just think the pictures might be better. We don't know when they were taken.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you say, oh, this doesn't look so bad. But if they were taken 3 or 4, 5 years ago, if it had been on, I don't know, you said it was on.
Well, I mean, this is part of the appraisal here.
Oh, well, there you go. As of October.
Yeah, and so that's why
I was talking pictures, but.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at it and it looks fairly nice. Time check? Is that what you were saying, Kathy?
Yeah. Thank you. Kathleen, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The photo, this is Kathleen. Yeah, the photos are on realtor.com. And I mean, Paulette, I'm sure she can remember, it's on the market for a long time. I think
2 years. And the last list price was $775 in the appraisal. I'm reading that.
Yeah, I thought they said $799, but that's possible.
$775, and then they put in $650. So,
and it's all $650.
But it was listed for $775.
Well, I think it was listed actually for $1 million, right? Because it was listed for $999,000 for April 2018.
But that was 2 years ago, and clearly not its value because it didn't sell.
Right.
It started at $999, right, in April of 2018, looking at the realtor.com. Then it dropped to $975, then to $849. And again, it's because a lot of it was because of the, whether you call it functional obsolescence or not, but the master bedroom is on the second floor. So, and it may have needed, and then it was a rental. So it was very difficult probably to show it if it was a rental.
Yeah, this is Veronique. I mean, I agree with Catherine. I mean, they pulled a ton of permits, and those would even show how much was actually put into it. So I don't believe that they should go down to the purchase price in this case because it is before the 10-1 date those permits were pulled. It was in May. They would have had time to do those projects.
Well, I know that was just the windows. So they have more, but
Right.
100,000 in windows. Yikes.
Windows are
So
expensive. It's crazy.
that's what I'm, yeah, no, and 38 of them. Clearly that's a large home, but,
And the bathrooms, they said the bathrooms leaked, there was some cleanup and things that they needed to do on the home. So
yeah.
I mean, was
awkward
it
arrangement with the
trashed
5
back?
bedrooms. So like I said, I don't, they had
Yeah.
originally said 900, and when she gave me an appraisal for 675, I said, well, that's a lot different than what you're asking. Can you? So she said, well, I guess I could, to go with the appraisal price. And she said, but do you do partials? And I said, yes, we look at, everything. So they changed their price to, they changed their ask from 9 to 675 when they handed in the appraisal.
Paula had their hand raised.
Yeah, I mean,
Paulette?
yeah, the house has been on the market a long time, as everybody said. So I look at it, and of course, I have a whole different opinion, which is they paid $650 for it, I guess. The appraisals for what, $675? I don't see a problem when we have an appraisal and a sale price. They put in windows. They took out other permits. Did they get the COs for everything in the reval period?
I haven't even seen any other permits. That was just the windows I saw.
Okay, because if they
That's
haven't done the work yet, then when they do it, they do it. Let's go back to Mr. Fazio and use him for a perfect example of having permits even for a year or more and still doesn't have his taxes raised or his assessment raised, his appraisal raised. So I look at this and I say, there's a lot of damage in this house. If you really read this, like Kathleen said, the pool, the porch and patio, the cleanup that they had to do for the bathrooms, they had resulting in significant damage. The fifth bathroom was so dated, it has to be redone. There's a ton of work to do in this house. The fact that they even came in here with 900,000 to start with was extremely nice of them. But then going down to the appraisal, I see why they did it. So I see no problem with granting them. Now, when their work gets done, it'll go up. But I don't see a big problem with this. I don't know why we look for problems that don't exist. We have an appraisal. We have a sale price. I don't really see.
This is Veronique. I think the work was done.
Yeah, I'm just, the neighbor at 720 in that, in that ranch, that 2,400 square foot ranch, I just find it harder to take them lower than the neighbor next door that has, might be in good condition, but it's not overly updated, the one that John had last night. That's literally their neighbor on one side, so it's the same section of Bronson Road. I'm having a hard time going to the appraisal, especially with the comps being having such high adjustments on them and being, upper Greenfield Hill, with the exception of the one High Meadow, and that's a 2,900 square foot home. So I agree, this repair is expensive on a big house, and it is an awkward layout. I can't get to the 675, so I was looking for some help someplace else in between.
I got a hard time when they paid $650 though. I mean, they paid $650 in the reval. I could move a little off that because, we want to get to that COVID, yada, yada. But, I don't think the homes that needed a lot of work were selling in COVID. People wanted move-in ready homes. That would have been the COVID premium, not, hey, I've been looking for this type of property all along and bought it. So
I also think that we can't have everything both ways. The board is quick to not accept someone who comes to them and says, well, I want what my neighbors have. But we have no problem turning that around and saying, well, the neighbors were this, so let's make theirs that. We can't do it both ways. If we're going to say the neighbor, with the ranch was at 700, and I think, I don't think this should be lower, then when they come to us and say, but my neighbors are all down here and I'm up here, we should be able to make that change too. You can't keep switching around to make it work for us.
Yeah, Paula, this is Kathleen. No, the neighbor's a sale. If they were just saying you have my neighbor's assessment at X and I want to have the same assessment as my neighbor, that's different than saying my neighbor sold for that. So that's the difference between that. So in this case, if the neighbor was assessed too high or too low, that'd be a different issue, but the neighbor actually bought the property like a month ago for $720. So that just gives some value to those larger parcels on the west side of Lower Bronson, across from Cider Mill or whatever those little cul-de-sacs are, before you get to Greenfield Hill. Lower Greenfield Hill has some value. And they do have a large home. And it definitely needs some repairs and work, but it's a big house. So I'd be hard to say to the neighbor, your the mansion, the big house twice your size next door is, even though it's in bad shape, unless it was really falling down, but I don't see that. They pulled permits a year ago, for 38 new windows for 100,000. So I think they put some money into it. So I just don't think, and then it was a pre-COVID 650 price. So I just think they need to be, I don't know, in the high 7s, low 8s. I'm not sure. I just don't think they should be 675. That's all.
Well, whatever you think, because I know, God knows I'm not going to win this argument. So whatever you think, go ahead and vote.
John, you have an opinion? That's why I needed somebody's help with this one.
How much was the square footage on this one? 4,000?
4,400? I wrote it down.
4460.
4,460.
And the appeal we heard
Ross,
last.
someone probably should look at this is Kathleen. Someone probably should look at the pool. They said the pool is not usable. I don't know if that's true or not. I forgot to put in a request for that.
I'm sure the pool is not
Please, somebody,
usable.
when they tell us the truth, we have to always
I'm
question.
sure it hasn't been, if it hasn't been used and it's at a cover, like, yeah, it's.
Yeah, so that's 20,000 off for the pool if the pool needs to be, not usable.
I just have a question, and I won't ask this again. Why is it that when somebody tells us something isn't right, no one believes it? Why is that? We swear them in, they're under oath, and yet we have comments like, they say it's not working, but we don't know if that's true. It should be true. How would you like
to believe that
you made a statement?
I do believe that there may be some verification that may need to be made. Especially when we're changing property values. I think it's fair to just verify what the appellant says.
Right, because they lied under oath. So we're going to check every one. I guess that's the point. We don't do it for everybody. We do it when it's convenient for us. Well, let's not grant this appeal because we don't want to give away that much money. So let's go check the pool now. Let's not believe it. That's the stuff I have.
I took it to mean that Kathleen was saying, well, the pool's assessed at 20,000 or appraised at 20,000, and it's not, and they're saying it doesn't even work. Well, that's 20,000 that she's got no problem writing off. I think that's how I took it. I did not take that.
I forgot to put in a ticket to have it taken off. So, they can go do a card correction and take the pool off at some point. But I think we need to assume that the pool is no good. I just think we need to come up with a value. Is 815 a number that people are comfortable with?
I was thinking maybe 850.
I'm definitely lower than that.
You're lower than that because the house that sold for 760 is half the size.
But I'm looking at even if I wanted to raise the 650 because that just is like, okay, like it is what they purchased at. I would put the $100,000 of the windows in and come up with 750, and it's still lower than theirs, and they do have an appraisal for the 675, so that's weighing on me. It's just, I would be much more comfortable 675.
This is Kathleen. Was the neighbor 720 or 760?
760.
760 for the ranch next door.
But they whatever they paid differently. These people paid $650. That's I can go that low. The appraisal takes it up a little, and then I see the windows, and I'm like, I could go.
Yeah, and it's sold pre-COVID, So.
Did you ever read the definition?
February? And like I said, I'm not crazy about the comps in the appraisal. They were big houses up in north of Greenfield Hill. So I don't, they had 900 in their head until that appraisal came in with these comps that are hugely adjusted. And the one that's close to them is 3,000 square feet. So I wasn't crazy about the appraisal. They're fallow field and Catamount. So it's nothing like Lower Bronson. Those are way, way up in Greenfield Hill. So that didn't give me a lot of confidence.
But that's why they made so many adjustments because they're not there. For some reason, they chose to use them. Again, did you read that handbook we were given to read? It tells right in there that we are not qualified to do this to somebody's appraisal. If we were, that would be, if any of us are qualified, please let me know. And that's the person that should be looking at these all the time. None of us are qualified. We don't have to like it. There's no reason why with the adjustments he made, it doesn't make sense. If he didn't make adjustments, I'd be more concerned. How many adjustments he makes doesn't matter. They could do whatever they want as long as it comes out to look fairly similar at the end. That's what they do. We don't have to like it. And by the way, we're supposed to be looking at fair market value, money that a reasonable person would pay in a reasonable time period, not what we're looking at now. That is not reasonable, but we're doing it because the prices went up, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't, we just do whatever we want here and when we feel like it. It's just not right.
I mean, we're just trying to find the market value as of October 1. And so the difference from when they bought the house and the permit, there's reason to think that there was adjustments made to the house, and also to say that the next door neighbor whose house is much smaller and it's an actual sale, that's what's getting me. I can't go down to that purchase price.
This house is much smaller, but does the neighbor's house did they have a letter that explained there's this many things wrong with that house? It's harder to sell a big house with a lot of problems than it is to sell a small house without any, because they have so much money to put into it, people will walk away rather than buy it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't afford to put the money in. So it's not, the fact that it's bigger does not make it more valuable. If it was in perfect condition or better condition, yes. But when it's in condition like that, it doesn't make it more valuable because it's larger.
Yeah, this is Kathleen, but it did sell for $1,150,000 in 2015. It's not like it's the big old houses, over in Stratfield that have the old steam radiators that are literally falling down, and they have all those, old windows and things. It's not that kind of a house. It sits on a nice lot. It's raised up on the west side of Bronson. The neighbor has almost the same lot with the same slope in the back, the same amount of real estate right next door. I just think, I think in the low 8s, mid 8s is fair. So, I mean, I can make a motion for, I don't know, 825. John said 850, 825. So I'll make a motion to amend this request to $825,000.
This is Ronique. I'll second that motion. All those in favor of approving the requested motion, or the motion for a partial reduction to 825, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. So we have 3 in favor, 2 opposed. The motion carries. To vote on a amended motion to 825. A vote to for appeal $512,000 to change the town's appraised value of $1,164,800 to the amended amount of $825,000. All those in favor, please raise your hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. We have 4 in favor, 1 opposed, Paulette Fuzo being opposed. And Kathy, if you can read the vote.
Appeal number 512 to be appraised due to $175,000 was in part by an amendment and reduced to $825,000. The vote 4 in favor and 1 opposing. Paulette opposed.
Thank you. Did you have another one, Kathleen, or did you want?
This is Kathleen. I actually have the one on the other side of the 760 ranch. So I'll do that one now on the Bronson. I know. So,
Perfect.
Okay. And then I have, let's see, which one is this? Okay. So this is appeal number 513. The property address is 1625 Bronson Road. The owner of the property is Joseph Callahan. The town has the property valued at $1,253,900, and they're requesting a reduction to $675,000. So I make a motion to grant this appeal and reduce the town's value to $675,000.
I think Ross has his hand up, but is there a second before I do that?
I'll second.
This is Remedy. John Spolier seconds. Ross, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just to let you know, this was one of the properties that you'd asked us to go out on, and Ken was unable to reach the homeowner at this point. He's tried to reach him and has not gotten a response back.
Right. And this is Kathleen. This is actually we got a second, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is actually Greg Lane's presented this appeal. So it was my request that you double check, and also I wanted to before I presented it, they have Greg put an appraisal together, but he did not include the square footage over the finished square footage over the 3 or 5 car garage, because he said it's not, the only way to access it is from a stairwell from the garage. You can't get to it from the main house. So he didn't feel that that land should, that square footage of the house should be valued the same as, you know, regular square footage in the house. So if you look in the appraisal, I think they call it a bingo room or something. It's a large finished square foot over the garage. So when he did his entire appraisal, he was doing it based on, you know, 1,250 square feet less of finished square footage. So that was kind of one of my other questions was, do we value when it is, you know, it is over the garage. The garage is attached to the house, but you have to go in the garage to get to it. It's not attached to the heated space in the home.
So it's not heated?
It's heated, but you have to go in the garage and go up the stairs. You can't get to it from the main house.
Okay.
I mean, the garage is attached to the house. You have to go into the garage and up the stairs. It's not, in other words, it's not a heated hallway that connects that finished space. So if you look at the picture, you can see the very large garage on the left-hand side of the property. But, I mean, I can go through the appeal as well, but he really based his appeal on, you know, 1,250 square feet less, or 1,392 square feet less in that finished, he categorized it separately from the main house because it's a work area above the garage. They call it a bingo room. So once he did that, that changed the comps a lot that he was comping. So one of the comps he used was the one we just talked about, the 1573 Bronson Road at 4,460 square feet. So with, you know, that sold for $650, that was the one we just talked about in February of 2020. He had another comp, and then his other 2 comps are much older. He's got a November 19 comp on 875 Mill Hill Road, and then he's got 63 Carriage Lane that sold for $600,000 in October of 2019. So there were some scratch outs in some of the notes on his appraisal that it looked like he had maybe done it in 2019 and changes the date of the intended use. I wasn't exactly sure, but the house is very cluttered on the inside. You can see, you know, from the pictures that
your input is invalid.
You know, that there definitely is an issue with the cluttering in the home. But I guess we need to just, you know, at least determine whether, you know, the kitchen is dated, the kitchens and bathrooms are dated, but it is a very large home on 1.4 acres. Again, on Bronson Road, it's the same side of the road. I think it's on the other side of the the neighbor that sold for $760, the ranch. This is 4,500 square foot colonial, built in 1956.
I mean, is it in the same shape as the one next door that we just talked about? I know you said there's clutter and I'm getting to the pictures here and such, but is it? Yeah.
Well, he's called the condition fair on the inside. It is a 5-car attached garage with that's the bingo room that's heated, and it has a bath that's on top of the space. So it is a really big home. Yeah. And it's a 60s colonial. It's not the same as the Cape. He really didn't get too much unless you see more of it in the pictures. You know, you can see the blue tile in the bathrooms. His two comps, you know, the other two comps on Mill Hill Road and then the Carriage Road comp is 2,500 square feet, 63 Carriage Drive. So I had a little bit of difficult time with this large colonial that probably does have a lot of other comps, you know, in the Southport area because it's a 1956 colonial. I have a couple more appeals on ones that look similar from the street on this one. So
I feel like we heard comp sale last night. The second comp sale.
We might have the one on Mill Hill, like eight.
I mean, used for a different reason here, but
875 was another one, Catherine, that Greg Lane presented. And I did last night.
Familiar with the properties. That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
And how did we decide on that one?
I believe we gave the, did we go down? I think we gave it, what was they're asking? Let me just double check.
We don't have to, nope, don't stay.
I think we did give it to them for what was requested. 775.
Okay.
Is what we
because they paid what they paid and then they upped it themselves. It's coming back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now that I see the picture in the appraisal. Okay.
Yep. And I believe they do have not a bingo room, but you know, in that one they do have something over the garage, like a in-law apartment or something like that, as you can see from the picture.
I'm looking at the picture. It's all coming back to me.
All right.
Thank you.
So this is Kathleen, was 875 Mill Hill Road an actual appeal, or that was?
Yes, that was an appeal.
It was an actual appeal. Okay.
Yep, and they bought it in 11 of 19.
And that's why he's using this sale. He is using this sale as a comp for that property. He's got 55% gross adjustment on that, and the Carriage Drive is a much smaller house. So, but he's using the 3,200 square foot gross living area number as opposed to the larger number for the bingo room, the 44, whatever the town is appraising them at. So that's why I just didn't know if we need to correct that space, or Ross, or does that, the fact that you have to go in the garage to go up the stairs, does that change how the town values that finished space?
Put functional on it.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, this is Ross. I would put functional, a functional obsolescence on
the space.
Yeah.
So that would change the value of that would bring the value down.
Right.
But you're putting that on the house or just on that garage space?
Yeah, we can't section it off like that. So it would, we'd have to figure out what made sense on the whole house. So it might be a pretty small number.
It's not going to get him to the 675 from the 1.2 million.
No.
Again, I have a hard time, this is an appraisal, but I see the 675 number. I don't know.
I'm Kathleen, this is John. I'm feeling the same way, and I feel like that one comp next door is throwing everything off.
Mm-hmm.
And so that it's like, okay, I got this comp next door that was so much less, and that's, and then I'm going to throw in other houses in similar price range within there that sold, nearby.
Right.
And
that's such a low sale, that 650 for 4,400 square feet. I know.
I mean, and if it, if it's in, I can't see this house, even though I do see how cluttered it is and stuff. I don't know if it's in as bad of shape and condition as what the previous house we discussed was.
Kathy with the time check, 7 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
This is an appraisal. It's not a property owner I mean, I guess they could, put some functional obsolescence on the space. And I guess that doesn't necessarily mean he can't come back. I just didn't like the fact that 650 is driving, these other very low comps and very low square footage on the 29, that third comp is a really small house. And it's just not, if you look at the picture, it just doesn't look anything like this house. So I'm just not, I'm not even sure I would want to try to do a partial. I think I would rather just deny it and let them come back with a better appraisal.
I agree.
It's almost 50%
discussion?
off. It's a huge drop. And I just don't want to sit here and try to figure it out. I don't know. There's a bunch others that may help us get to a value that is more appropriate, but I just, from an, as an appraiser, I just don't, I didn't like this one at all. He's got others that I don't know. Paulette has her hand
Paulette
up.
has.
But I just want to clarify for the record. So yet we have another appraisal that people on the board don't like. They have no reason why they don't like it, just that they don't like it. So we're not gonna look at that. We're probably just gonna not grant the appeal, because after all, we are qualified to know better than the man who's been doing it for 30 years. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that before I vote. So this will be another appraisal that we dismiss because someone doesn't like it. Did anybody read that handbook, or was I the only one who read it? I'm usually the one who doesn't read those things. So I the only one who read it? Was I the one who understood it? Or is it just the Democrats' way of doing things? Because I don't really understand it.
I don't think it has anything to do with a party, Paulette, but I've also,
Right.
if it's a bank appraisal, I have a heightened sense of, I like to know why an appraisal is being done. And just like a sale is not always an arm's length transaction, I think appraisals for different purposes, I'm going to look at a little differently too. And this, I got to say, it looks like you can get to that space from the inside. I get that it's a little wonky, but, I think that's, so I'm ready to vote, and I'm not voting party lines. I mean, I'm just voting. I've spent, God, hundreds of hours looking at properties in this last month. I'm not saying I'm an appraiser, but you do start to get to know the properties a little better, and I'm ready to vote.
Yeah, I am too. And we've looked at appraisals in the past too, where we've voted against the appraisals as well. Not saying that we are voting against it on every time. We're definitely taking those into consideration. It helps the appellant's case. But there are some situations where I do believe that we do not have to go with every single appraisal. But that being said,
you have the right to your opinion, but you're not qualified to decide whether or not that appraisal is good. Nobody on the board is. Neither are Judy and I. It's just the way it is.
I just can't rubber stamp appraisals for approval.
Because you know all about them, right, John? You know what they really mean. You can tell me.
I scrutinize them and I have questions.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're all going to vote with Kathleen anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know why I waste my breath and aggravate myself.
This is Veronique. We don't always vote. We vote as a board for the people. Yes, we are not professional appraisers, but we do have our own opinions, and we can exercise that as a board. But I do believe that we should vote on this issue. We've spent a lot of time on this property. But so.
Vote away. Go right ahead.
So I am calling to vote on appeal number 513 to lower the town's appraised value of $1,253,900 to the requested value of $675,000. All those in favor, please raise your hand. None in favor. All those opposed, please raise your hand. I have 5 and 4 in favor. Any abstentions? 1 abstention with Paulette Guzzo abstaining. And so the motion fails. The vote is 0-4-1. Kathy, can you please call the vote?
Appeal number 513 to reduce the appraised value to $675,000 is denied with a vote of 0 in favor, 4 opposing, and 1 abstaining. Paulette abstained.
Thank you. Did we want to try to squeeze one more in, Kathleen, or?
Well, so this is Kathleen. I think John has 2 on Bronson, so I think he may see some of the same comps, or else I have one for a couple comps. So if that's okay, let's let John see if he can get his 2 done. And then, when we have Peter, I still have more Mill Hill. But let's get the Bronson. I would get the Bronsons taken care of if we can.
Okay. So let's see if we can get this one in here. I think we should be able to. Appeal number 176. Okay. The property address is 1524 Bronson Road. The appellant and owners are Charles and Catherine or Kate Plager. The town has an assessed value of $896,500, and the requested value, which I'd like to make a motion on to grant, which would change the town appraised value, is to $635,000.
Do I have a second? Kathleen Griffin seconds. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this was presented by Jeff Smith. He was on the call with Mr. Plager. And so with Jeff Smith being on here, you can assume correctly that there is, starting on page 5, an appraisal report. So with this, it's on 2.58 acres. However, it's on a pond, and there's also, or part of it's on a pond. There's a conservation easement, which makes 35% of it unusable. Bronson Road is a busy road. However, it looks like that basically from the GIS map, this is actually, while it may have a Bronson Road address, it's not directly on Bronson Road. It looks like it's accessed by Cemetery Road, which they do mention in their appeal, that it is right by Oaklawn Cemetery. They did do the comps were in the range of 627 to 720. The range was lowered due to the easement and the cemetery with that, and that's how they came up with 635,000. The house was purchased in 2017 for 585. Paulette, I'm sure you can call up on there that it was on the market for over 300 days. There was a BAA appeal in 2017, right before the sale went through. The appraisal didn't change the land value for comps because he equated the land value equal to what was non-wetlands. So the comps he used for the land basically were compared to the usable land. The owner did talk to the wetlands department earlier in the week. So when did we meet? March 17th. So sometime that week. And it was said that if he was to rebuild the house, he would need all the approvals from the towns and the wetlands committee, and feels that with the pond being on the land, it would scare people off from buying that house on there. Okay, so that was the summary of the meeting. So if you have any questions,
And this is Kathleen. I see your 1677 Bronson on
Yep.
this. I had seen it someplace else. So that's, they actually listed as a cape. Wasn't it a ranch or no?
I believe it was a ranch.
Yeah. Jeff has it listed as a cape, but
Okay.
similar square footage. That one's 2,700. This house is 2,400. I think Paulette may have two. That and the other one has a pool. The 758 or the 1677 Bronson's on a busier street.
Yeah, and he does credit that 20,000 or debit.
Yeah, and he found looks like he found a ranch on. I looked at that Brookside one earlier when I was looking at there's the 1351 Brookside has a similar curb, appeal look to it. So I think he did. I've been in this house. I know where the pond is and stuff. It isn't right on the cemetery. They do have some privacy in there, but it definitely, it is a large parcel of land. It's nice. It's a good location, but the house definitely, needed some work and things. I think he did a good job. His adjustments are very low, 5% on most of them, 1%. So he's not making his gross adjustments aren't huge. Does have a couple colonials in there, but. And they paid 585 and 17, right? And
Correct. They paid 585 and 17. I'm looking for the field card.
And no, haven't done really any work.
No, it doesn't look like they've done any work based on the photographs here. I believe I looked at the pond one or the what was it? There's something on their field card. I think they do already have some type of easement for the flood zone and such.
Ross has his hand raised.
Yeah, go ahead, Russ, please.
Yeah, we've taken 20% off the first 2 acres, and we've reduced the excess acreage down to 10%. So 90% off on that.
Yeah. This is Kathy, and the appraisal was 630. Actually, I'm looking at the appraisal.
Yes, the appraisal was 630.
They asked.
But they came up with 635. I get the fact that, with the wetlands and everything like that, and we just do want to take a look on.
I'm interested in the process here. I'm not, that numbers, how can we, so they had appealed in 2017 and got a change from the BAA based on their purchase price.
No, it was actually went right before the BAA appeal happened before they purchased the house. It was right before they purchased the house.
Well, and whatever happened with the BAA, it still went like, how can we stop this from happening again? Is where, is there any way? Because they're asking for, yes, we have great conditions on the land valuation. However, they're still asking for it to be less than the land value. I'm not saying I disagree with it. I'm just saying, how can we get there so that they don't have to keep coming back? Ideas or not important, and we don't want to go down that rabbit hole. We'll just leave that.
This is Ronique. It was last appraised at $585,000, and it jumped to $896. If anyone was curious about that.
Well, this, Kathy, that's because it was brought down by an appeal. That's why we see people with huge jumps a lot. It's because it was changed by the BAA in 17.
Right.
And used an override.
I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. Kathy, I agree with your point. I'd like to try to find a way, because I do think that in a way we would be doing a disservice to the owner and future owners if we just kept doing overrides, but I'm not sure what we can do, how much more we can take the land down. With that, you take a look
I mean,
at.
I don't think it's really.
Go ahead, Ronique.
This is Veronique. I don't think we could really kind of try to calculate it. I think it's our job to kind of put together a number, and if they are to make adjustments to do that, great. But it may not have to be an override depending on the amount, or it probably would be.
I think we just need to say we want to adjust to this value, and the difference has to be taken from the land, or like it, and if we want to go there. I'm just saying, otherwise I'm ready to vote. I don't want to belabor the how.
Well, so one quick question. Do they have a garage valued at $54,000? Is that in the appeal too? I'm just surprised to see that. I was looking at the card breakdown at the top. So the residential outbuildings valued at $54,000. They have a separate structure?
It looks like it.
Did Jeff account for that? And maybe he did.
Let me double check.
I see the pool coming off.
I don't see page 2 of the field card.
I'm just so surprised to see that, $54,000 structure is not a small garage.
To have their dwelling and outbuildings be
On Kathleen,
200.
on page 20, they have a picture of the garage. It's a 2-car garage, and it looks like it's got maybe additional space in there as well.
So that 50,000 price doesn't make sense.
It's a separate garage. I see. It is a separate structure. That's right. I do remember that garage. And I think they have a garage. Is there one attached to the main house too? No, I guess not. I'm just trying to think where's all the value? Where's the
right?
Loft 800 and yeah.
I have a question about the land. Did Ross say, maybe I misunderstood him. Did Ross say that you've already discounted the land?
It does have a condition code.
Yeah, the land's been discounted.
So with the land discounted, so with the discount, the land is appraised at $690,900.
Yes.
What do you think land next to the cemetery is really worth? Obviously, $690,900. What was it before that?
$850.
Yeah.
In that
the
location,
driveway?
sense to me. That's where the value is. The value is in the land, and I realize it's been discounted, but discounted from a number that's too high. It's like when you go to the store and they mark the suit down 20%, but it was 80% overpriced to start with. It does you no good.
But if we can suggest another code, but if that's, I know we have to make decisions and keep moving forward. So I didn't want to wait, spend a lot of time. That's right where I'm with you. It's 80.
Yeah.
Every 0.1 we can change that condition will get him down $85,000. So if we're looking at going to 890 from 896 to whatever we approve, 896, and where were we hoping he's coming in at 635?
635.
This is Kathleen. Can someone tell me, how did Jeff get to that number? Because all the adjusted comps are in the 7s, except for one. So I was sort of looking at the amount of the adjustments.
So Jeff said that he was looking for comps in the range of 627,000 to 720.
Right.
And the reason why he lowered it down was due to the easement and the cemetery.
So he did that after he came to the gross adjustment numbers of 720, 721, 627. Okay, because all of them are, 3 of them are in the high 6s. None of them are as low. So then he went and took the cemetery. He then dropped it lower rather than doing it in the location.
Yep.
Okay, I got it. So that's
So he did account for the cemetery.
Just not in the not in the initial adjustments. He did it afterwards. Got it. Okay, that's why he got from all those 720s down to 630.
So if we adjusted it, would you say, Catherine, every point or
I
something
would
is?
just say, Ross, can you check my math? If you were to pull the 0.8 condition factor down to 0.5, could you give us a number?
Yep.
Thank you.
It brings the land down to 425,100.
And then the house is
then
what?
the
Overall,
house?
641,500.
641,500.
Okay, that's close enough.
I mean, I'm still okay with 635, and you know, but if we do the 0.5, then they won't come back. They won't need to come back. Not that we're
Right.
sending away.
So this, Kathleen, is the house, you think the house, I haven't looked at that, depreciation of 3, got the garage is 90% good. Okay, I'm just making sure that the house is not, you know, too high or too low for other reasons, but it looks like if it's at 3 and it's in that condition, it's probably accurate. The house is probably right. Okay. I mean, I like that. I'd make a motion to amend to that number. I think it's pretty close to what they asked for. And I think if it helps in the long run with that, you know, there is a big pond in the back there. And it did say, right, that they had the conservation easement is a large majority.
They
of
do.
the
I mean, if you look at the map on there, they only have a little sliver of their property that's not in a buffer zone or part
Right.
of the easement. I mean, literally, I would probably say 80% of their house is in the buffer zone. Just about all the garage is in a buffer zone. You probably take about maybe 5-10 steps out the front door and you're in the next buffer zone.
Mhm.
And
Type of thing.
I'm just suggesting that as a process to the way. I'm not asking that we, you know, evaluate all of it, but if we feel comfortable with the 635, that is a way to get to that number that will stick.
I'm good with that. I agree.
Okay.
But
What was that number, Ross? 641 something?
641.5, I think.
Okay.
One sec. 641,500.
Paulette wants to make the motion?
Okay.
I'll make the motion then. I'd like to make an amendment to the motion to change the value to 641,500 from the requested value of 635,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. And I'll call a vote to amend the motion, the original motion, to a value of 641,500 down from the town's appraised value of 896,500. All those in favor, please raise your hand. There's 5 in favor. The vote passes unanimously. Now a vote to the amended motion, appeal number 176, to grant in part from 896,500 to an amended amount of 641,500. All those in favor, please raise your hand. There's 5 in favor. The vote passes unanimously. Kathy, would you please call the vote?
For appeal 167 to reduce the appraised value to $635,000, the vote was granted in part to reduce it to 641,500 unanimously.
Thank you. And I think that's it for the night. If anyone wants to make a motion to adjourn.
Well, this is Kathleen.
Sorry.
John, do you want to finish your last one or you want to hold off?
Let's hold off.
You sure? Okay.
Yes, I do.
We're good.
I'm more
All right.
interested in making a motion to adjourn.
Kathy? How many
Thanks,
we
John.
do? I'd like to know how many we did.
11.
Difference between 3 and 5 hours. All
For
right.
sure.
No,
Hey,
I think it's the
have a really-
presenter.
Oh, yeah.
We have a really good period of time coming up because I won't be here. These philosophical discussions. So enjoy it.
Have
I
a
want to
good,
hear a lot of momentum.
have a good
but I-
break, Catherine.
Have a nice trip.
Hey, thanks.
Oh.
Bye.
Enjoy.
All right. Good night,
Bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Kathy.